The Priestess's Time Travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Modern Bastard 10. Su Qingni was touched when she heard Su Guofu's plan. Her father was thinking about her. Moreover, Su Qingni's birth was indeed an accident. Her mother had forgiven her father, so she should forgive him too. Dad, you can hire a professional manager to help manage the company. It doesn't have to be that Su Qingni. Su Qingni really disliked Su Qingni, and she didn't like Su Qingni entering her home even more. Outsiders are always unreliable. Su Guofu didn't trust outsiders. Then, Su Qingni said then for a long time, and said, then I can find a son-in-law, a husband with business ability, and let him help Dad manage the company in the future. Lily. Su Guofu sighed, you are too naive. How do you know that the man you find is not marrying you for your money and the company? When they get the company and cheat all your money, they will divorce you and kick you out of the house. Lily, there are a lot of news about Phoenix men on the internet, you can take a look. There was silence for a while. After a long time, Su Qingni spoke again, I understand, Dad. I will try to accept Su Qingni, but you can't force me. Of course, I can't force anyone but my most beloved baby. If Su Qingni offends you in any way, tell Dad immediately and Dad will help you teach him a lesson. The father and daughter said a lot more, and the last part was about missing their common relatives, Su Guofu's wife and Su Qingni's biological mother. The boy didn't listen anymore. He fell dejectedly on the bed, with his right wrist covering his eyes, and tears flowed from the contact between his arm and cheek. The boy cried silently, and the system did not speak to comfort the boy. The boy didn't need the comfort of others at this time. What he wanted was to lick his wounds quietly by himself. This is a very stubborn child. After a long time, so long that the morning star in the sky had already appeared, and a night had passed, the boy spoke, System, are you there? Yes. System. I am. System. I am. System. I am. System. I am. The boy called again and again, and the system answered tirelessly. Finally, the boy changed his words, System, I only have you. The system's mechanical voice was gentle, I will accompany you. Forever. Kid, don't be too greedy. Haha. The boy laughed out loud, and felt much better. System, I don't expect fatherly love anymore. The boy said, System, I don't want to live according to Su Guofu's arrangements, I want to leave the Su family. Friendly reminder, boy, you are still 8 months away from turning 18. Before that, your guardianship is in the hands of Su Guofu. Boy. The boy wiped his face and said, the college entrance examination is in 2 months. After the college entrance examination, I will go to college and leave the Su family. I'm afraid Su Guofu will interfere with which university you study and which major. Maybe he will let you study in a local university and won't let you out of his sight. The boy said, then I will be admitted to the best university in the country. He can't stop me from studying, right? If I really get admitted to Yang University or Shumu University, the school leaders and teachers will definitely make a big fuss to let everyone know that I was admitted. If Su Guofu doesn't let me go to Yan City, as for whether he will interfere with my choice of major, I can just change to my favorite major when I study for a master's degree. And with my learning ability, choosing a double degree is not a problem. System, since you have made up your mind, do what you want. But I remind you again, if you want to leave the Su family, you must have money yourself. The boy, when the summer vacation comes, I will find a way to make a lot of money. I will return all the money Su Guofu has given me over the years. I don't want a penny from the Su family. With a decision in his mind, the boy felt that his breathing was much smoother. Looking at the time, it was already 5:30. The boy changed his clothes and went out to exercise in advance. After the exercise, the boy had breakfast before going home. Perhaps because of Su Qingni, Zhang Ma prepared a breakfast for Su Qingni this time. The boy only glanced at it and said lightly, I have eaten, and I am not used to eating Western breakfast. After that, he went upstairs and picked up his school bag and went out. Zhang Ma curled her lips at the boy's back with disdain, country bumpkin. Su Guofu never let the boy down in terms of material things. The furnishings in the boy's room are all fine products. He prepared a lot of good clothes for the boy, and prepared a laptop and a desktop computer for him. It seems that he is treated the same as his daughter Su Qingni. But in fact, if you are not the person involved, you will not understand. Every day when Su Qingni comes home from school, he stays in his room. Su Guofu thinks that the boy is studying, but in fact, he is using the computer to make money. Although he said that he would make a lot of money during the summer vacation, now he can use the computer to make a little money. Su Qingni takes orders online and uses hacking technology to help people make money. When there is no business, he writes some small programs, which can also be sold for a lot of money. By the time the college entrance examination came, Su Qingni had already made 2 million. After the college entrance examination, Su Qingni originally planned to go to the United States, but Su Guofu brought Su Qingni into his company and let him work in the company for a summer vacation, learning and getting familiar with the company. Su Guofu felt that he had given Su Qingni the opportunity to get in touch with the Su family's business, and the son would definitely be very happy and grateful to him, but he didn't know that Su Qingni cursed Su Guofu in his heart. Damn, how can he make a lot of money when he is detained in the Su family's company? There is no way. Su Qingni can only continue to make money with programming and hacking technology. Although these two things also make a lot of money, compared to the speed at which a behemoth like the Su family company makes money, Su Qingni's speed of making money can only be crushed. The college entrance examination results came out, and Su Qingni won the provincial champion, only 10 points away from getting full marks. The school leaders and teachers were extremely happy. They hung a large banner in the school to publicize the fact that Su Qingni had taken the provincial champion exam. Students and parents were also talking about this matter. Reporters came to interview Su Qingni as a routine. Su Qingni's name spread throughout City A. Even Su Guofu's business partners knew that he had such a capable and excellent child, and they all congratulated Su Guofu. Su Guofu smiled reluctantly. Su Qingni's excellence set off Su Qingni's mediocrity. This time Su Qingni also took the college entrance examination, but only scored more than 300 points, not even half of Su Qingni's score. After others congratulated his son on becoming the provincial champion, they asked him how his daughter did in the exam, and he couldn't even tell his daughter's score. Chapter 127 Modern Bastards I. Su Guofu was not as happy as his son who became the top scorer in the college entrance examination. Instead, he was very irritated and blamed Su Qingni in his heart. Why did he do so well in the exam? He didn't care about his sister's face at all. During this period, Su Guofu became even colder to Su Qingni. Su Qingni sneered. He no longer cared about Su Guofu's attitude and turned around to invest in the stock market. When filling out the application, Su Guofu really intervened. However, Su Qingni's grades were there, and Yan University and Shumu University were eagerly waiting for Su Qingni's application. Su Guofu had no choice but to take a step back and not let Su Qingni fill in his favorite major. The boy didn't have a favorite major either. He actually wanted to study physics and mechanics, and wanted to develop the Mecha and Spaceflight Academy in the holographic game in reality. Unfortunately, he took the liberal arts exam instead of the science exam, so he couldn't apply for these two majors, but forced Su Qingni to choose the management major. Su Qingni obediently let Su Guofu decide the major on the surface, but secretly he had already started preparing papers to prepare for applying to foreign universities. After the summer vacation, Su Qingni left the Su family with his luggage. He didn't have much luggage. In addition to his ID and his frequently used laptop, he only brought a few clothes and packed a small suitcase. Even so, Zhang Ma watched him like a thief, fearing that Su Qingni would take away the money and things of the Su family. All the things of the Su family belonged to Su Qingni. Su Qingni chuckled twice and doubted Su Guofu's IQ. How did he make such a big business? He wanted to win over himself to be a cow and a horse for his daughter. Should he make an investment first? Not only did he not make an emotional investment, but he also indulged the nanny at home to treat him like this. There must be something wrong with his brain to kneel down and lick his baby daughter according to his ideas. Life in college is much more comfortable than life in the Su family. Su Qingni made several good friends, all of whom are roommates in the dormitory. These roommates have good character and are worth making friends with. Su Qingni is the youngest in the whole dormitory, but he is respected as the boss by everyone because his performance in military training is so extraordinary. He could stand at the military posture for a whole day without moving. He could learn military boxing very quickly and could knock down the instructors. He could hit the center of the target repeatedly, and it was said that the bullets were connected in a straight line. The company commander asked Su Qingni very much if he wanted to join the army, saying that Su Qingni was a natural soldier. Su Qingni just smiled. He had trained in the game for so long and served as a soldier for so long, so he naturally brought out some military habits in reality, which was misunderstood by the company commander. However, he would not join the army. How could the army in the real world be as interesting and exciting as the army in the game? In reality, at most, you can only fight some criminals on the border, but in the game, there are constant wars. In reality, you can only use weapons such as mobile phone sniper rifles, but in the game, you can use laser weapons and plasma weapons. In reality, you can only fly a plane, but in the game, you can fly a spaceship and travel in space. In addition to the eye-catching military training, Su Qingni's position as the boss is also due to his making money with the little brothers in the dormitory. Su Qingni was discovered by his roommates when he was trading stocks, and everyone took out their pocket money to follow Su Qingni to trade stocks. At first, they were just having fun. They didn't think Su Qingni could help them make much money. Su Qingni was not a stock god. As a result, Su Qingni really was a stock god. He bought that kind of stock, and that kind of stock rose, and he made a lot of money with his roommates. The roommates bowed down to Su Qingni. "Boss, you don't have inside information, do you?" A roommate leaned close to Su Qingni's ear and asked. Su Qingni looked at him with contempt. "Where can I get so much inside information? I make money by my own ability, analyzing stock market curves and big market data to judge the rise and fall of stocks." Another roommate asked for advice. "Boss, how do I analyze it?" Su Qingni analyzed the data, and mathematical terms emerged one after another, which made the roommates all look at mosquito coils. "Boss, you shouldn't study liberal arts, you should study mathematics." The roommate rubbed his temple and said dizzy. Su Qingni spread his hands and said, "I can't help it. I chose the liberal arts when I was choosing between arts and science. But aren't you the emo champion? The mathematics department will definitely beg you to study in the mathematics department, right? But I want to study physics, and the physics department won't want me. Then you can apply for a second major now. With your learning ability, you will definitely be able to pass the application." "No, I am now applying to foreign universities and decided to study physics abroad." The roommates were shocked. "What about our majors? Are you going to give up?" Su Qingni said, "My dad helped me choose this major. In fact, I don't like it." The roommates looked at each other, not knowing what to say, and only wrote a big admiration for Su Qingni in their hearts. A semester passed quickly, and Su Qingni's application for foreign universities was also passed. He was admitted to Stanford University. Stanford University is a world-renowned research university, ranked third in the world university rankings, and has laid a solid foundation for the formation and rise of Silicon Valley. Su Qingni said goodbye to his roommates. They went home for the new year, and Su Qingni embarked on a trip abroad. After that, everyone was afraid that they would have the chance to meet again. Before leaving, Su Qingni sent a registered letter to Su Guofu. There was a bank card in the envelope. Most of the money Su Qingni earned this semester was in this card, a full 20 million. This was the child support that Su Qingni paid to Su Guofu for more than 10 years. Su Guofu was very generous to Su Qingni, but no matter how much a child's expenses were, there was a limit. A maximum of 500,000 a year, 18 years is 9 million. The extra 10 million was Su Qingni buying out Su Guofu's life grace for him. After that, the two had no relationship. When Su Guofu received the letter and the bank card, he felt very complicated. He always knew that this son was excellent, but he didn't expect him to be so excellent and so smart. He actually saw through his thoughts, and he was unwilling to do as he arranged, so he decisively left the Su family. Leaving the Su family was not enough, but he actually gave him so much money, saying that it was to repay the child support for 18 years 20 million. It's not a small number. This child can actually make money. His ability. If this child can inherit the Su family company, the Su family company may be able to reach a higher level. But I pushed this child away. He went abroad and I can never find him again. Was it wrong? Su Guofu asked himself. He didn't want to admit that he was wrong, but he couldn't suppress the regret in his heart. Is it worth losing an excellent son for his daughter? Su Guofu had no answer. Chapter 128 Modern Bastard 12. Before the registration time came, Su Qingni did not go to the school, but took the remaining $100,000 to Las Vegas, a gambling city where many people dream of becoming rich overnight. Su Qingni held a chip worth $10,000 in his hand and turned it between his fingertips. He had a confused expression on his face. In addition, he was not very old, and the face of an Oriental was more immature than that of a Westerner. In the eyes of everyone in the casino, this was a newbie who followed adults to the casino to see new things. He was young and didn't know anything. The boy walked to a gambling table with curiosity, stretched his head and looked inside, and asked, "What game is this?" The person next to him turned his head and looked at the boy. Seeing that he looked like a newbie, he introduced him to him. "This is a roulette game. Do you see the numbers on the roulette wheel? You can buy a single number or a combination of numbers on the gambling table. The dealer will release a small ball, and it will finally stop at the number in the number slot. The player who bets on that number wins." The man told the boy in detail how to play roulette. It can be heard that this person is a frequent visitor to the casino. The boy nodded as he listened, watching the last round on the gambling table end, and no one won the chips. If the casino did not tamper with the equipment, then this would be a game that depends entirely on luck. And Su Qingni chose such a game. Lest the people in the casino think that he won because of cheating. Before the boy came to the casino, he originally wanted to win money by playing blackjack, but when he was on the plane, he saw a movie called Blackjack. The movie tells the story of several MIT math students who entered Las Vegas under the leadership of their professor. With their cutting-edge knowledge and calculations of mathematics, they easily coped with various situations that might arise in the blackjack game, won a lot of gambling money, and won the Las Vegas casino. The Las Vegas casino had to invite investigators to conduct targeted investigations, and finally listed the members of this team as unwelcome in Las Vegas. After watching this movie, the boy gave up the idea of winning money by playing blackjack. Because of this movie, Las Vegas casinos attach great importance to the game of blackjack and monitor it very closely. Once they find something wrong, they will ask people to leave the casino. Therefore, after understanding the rules of various gambling games in the casino, the boy chose two games, dice and roulette, especially roulette. If the casino does not tamper with the roulette, then this game depends entirely on luck to win money. Of course, this is only for ordinary people. The boy has many ways to control the ball on the roulette wheel, so that it can enter any number slot it wants. After listening to the introduction of the person next to him, Su Qingni responded with a big smile, said something, and squeezed to the side of the table. Just as the new round was about to start, the boy hurriedly shouted, "Wait a minute, I haven't placed a bet yet." After saying that, he took out all the chips in his pocket very anxiously, and without looking carefully, he threw them into a number slot in front of him. Everyone laughed when they saw it. It turned out to be the number 0, and the probability of the roulette wheel being able to turn to it is very small. Although the odds of choosing 0 are very high, with an odds of 1 to 35, no one bought this number. In the eyes of everyone, buying a single number is giving money to the casino for nothing. Now that the boy actually bought a single number, everyone sympathized with the boy very much. This kid is so unlucky. He doesn't know anything and he was so flustered that he lost 100,000 yuan. I wonder if his parents will spank him. The dealer also looked at the boy with sympathy, but she would never let him take back his chips. The boy should just blame himself for his bad luck. The dealer started the turntable and the ball started to move. Everyone stared at the ball without blinking and saw it rolling into a groove. Dealer, Greek letter sigma, everyone, Greek letter sigma, everyone rubbed their eyes, looked at the numbers on the grooves, and then turned to look at the boy who was still a little confused. "Why are you all looking at me?" The boy shrugged his shoulders, looking scared. Everyone's eyes were hot, and one of the guests said, "Hey, young man, you got lucky." "What do you mean lucky?" The boy blinked innocently. "Are you talking about the number I bought? I got lucky if I won." "Yes, you bought 0. The guest said excitedly, "The odds are 35 times. Young man, you just invested 100,000 yuan in chips, and now you can win back 3.5 million. So much?" The boy was very happy to hear this. "Haha, it turns out that gambling is so easy. Then if I win every time, can I become a billionaire overnight?" Everyone looked at the boy with dead fish eyes, wanting to tell him not to dream. "You are already very lucky to win once, and you want to win every time?" The boy ignored everyone's expressions and looked at the dealer expectantly. The dealer couldn't stand the boy's gaze and quickly gave him the chips he won. The boy laughed and said, "I know the rules very well." As he said this, he pushed a chip of 10,000 yuan in front of the dealer. The dealer secretly criticized the boy for being a bumpkin in the city. He put away the chips with a smile on his face and thanked the boy. "Please place your chips," the dealer said. Everyone placed bets one after another. Most of them only bought small odds such as red or black, odd or even numbers. There were also a small number of combination numbers. Only the boy bought a single number and bet 200,000. Of course, this 200,000 was wasted. Everyone laughed. "Boy, you have stepped on dog shit once, and you thought you could step on it a second time?" As expected, the boy's good luck was gone. For more than 10 consecutive times, the boy bought a single number and didn't win once, losing more than 2 million. The boy's eyes were red from losing, and I don't know if he was angry or crying. The boy stared at the roulette wheel and gritted his teeth. Suddenly, he pushed all the chips in his hand out and bet on one number. "I'm betting all. This is the last round. No matter I win or lose, I won't play anymore." Everyone looked at the boy with care. The dealer did not start the roulette wheel immediately, but asked the boy gently, "Are you really betting all? You won't keep 100,000 yuan to protect your capital?" The boy sniffed and said with a nasal voice, "I'm betting all. Humph, I don't care about 100,000 yuan. He looked like my family is not short of money." Since the boy said so, the dealer put away the little kindness he had left and started the roulette wheel. The roulette wheel spun and the ball rolled and rolled until it rolled into a groove. Dealer, Greek letter sigma, everyone, Greek letter sigma, a boy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 Modern Bastard 13. The young man left the casino with 35 million, leaving a legend in Las Vegas that the god of luck favored him. The casino was originally unwilling to pay so much cash at one time. But playing roulette is not playing blackjack, and you can't cheat. People rely on luck, and the casino has no reason to withhold the money. Occasionally, people in the casino are also afraid of such people with super good luck, and will not easily offend people with good luck. The young man Su Qingni left Las Vegas with 35 million so smoothly. When he came to the United States, he had only 100,000 yuan on him. He became a multimillionaire in one night. This experience almost made Su Qingni lost and wanted to stay in the casino. But the system poured him a basin of cold water, letting him know what it means to have money but no life to spend. The boy finally left Las Vegas, a tempting place, with the idea of continuing to gamble. After leaving Las Vegas, Su Qingni went to Wall Street in Manhattan. Wall Street is a battlefield of money and digital games. The boy's mathematical talent and his extraordinary vision made him invincible on Wall Street. 30 million was invested in Wall Street. In 2 months, the boy reaped a profit of 30 times and became a billionaire. However, the boy was tired of playing the money game at this time. He found an agent to help him manage Wall Street affairs, and then he went to college and started a busy study life every day. The boy wanted to make things like spaceships and battleships in the game. He learned the knowledge of making these two things in the game that seemed like the real world, as well as some knowledge of the future era. There is a big gap between this knowledge and the knowledge of today, but the core content is still the same. What the boy has to do now is to study the knowledge of this world hard, master the core content, connect the knowledge of the future with the knowledge of today, and promote the progress of the knowledge of this world until spaceships and battleships can be made. After 2 years of study, the boy published several papers. The viewpoints mentioned in these papers have opened the eyes of many scientific masters, and scientific theories have made a big step forward. In terms of technology, many excellent finished products have been developed because of the application of these viewpoints. Just when the scientific masters were optimistic about Su Qingni and expected this genius young man to write more papers and put forward more useful theories and viewpoints, this young man, who is usually very hardworking, actually asked for leave. The reason is that he felt too tired during this period and his brain needed a rest. Although the bosses were disappointed, they still agreed with concern that Su Qingni should take a vacation, so that he could have a good rest and go further in the future. Su Qingni nodded with a smile and turned around to follow his two partners to Africa. One of the two partners was called Edward and the other was called Davis. Both of them were rich second generations, and they liked adventure and novel ways of playing. This time, Davis proposed that Su Qingni and Edward go to Africa with him to look for diamond mines. Davis got the information that there was a diamond mine in a certain mountainous area, but whether it was really there or not still needed to be confirmed by professionals. In order not to miss the diamond mine, Davis spent money to buy the mountain before the news was confirmed. However, his family thought that the news was unreliable and did not give Davis money to buy the mountain. Davis did not have enough money to buy the entire mountain area, so he pulled Edward and Su Qingni to invest in buying the mountain together. Now that the experts and exploration instruments are in place, Su Qingni and the other two have agreed to go to Africa. Exploring diamond mines is such an interesting thing that Su Qingni and Edward don't want to miss it. There were quite a few people in their group. In addition to Davis, Su Qingni and Edward, an expert and his two assistants, the rest were all bodyguards hired by Davis. The bodyguards were all veterans, all of them were good at fighting, and all of them had gun licenses, and each of them carried a gun. After all, Africa is not a safe place, especially the countries that produce diamonds, which are full of blood. The mine diamonds are extremely beautiful, but they are all irrigated with human blood. According to the information received by Davis, some forces also knew that there might be diamond mines in that mountainous area, and they were eyeing it covetously. In addition, the neighboring countries of the country where the mountainous area is located are in civil strife, and the fighting is extremely fierce. It is possible that if they can't stop, it will affect the neighboring countries. There are 10 bodyguards in total, including one with an Asian face. Su Qingni felt friendly and went forward to greet the man. The man may also feel that Su Qingni is friendly. Although he is serious, his attitude is very good. The two exchanged names and information and found that they were compatriots, and their relationship became closer. Su Qingni learned from this person that this man named Liu Yixiang was a special forces soldier in China. Needless to say, he was extremely skilled. The other 9 bodyguards were no match for him. He was considered one of the trump cards of the bodyguard company. Liu Yixiang's sister was seriously ill and was treated in a sanatorium abroad, which was very expensive. In order to make money, Liu Yixiang chose to take such a dangerous bodyguard mission. Davis spent a lot of money. He would be paid $300,000 for this trip to Africa, which was enough for his sister's medical expenses for 3 months. Su Qingni patted Liu Yixiang on the shoulder. Although he sympathized with him, Su Qingni would not give Liu Yixiang money just because of sympathy. He could not show his sympathy too obviously. Liu Yixiang looked like a person with a strong self-esteem. He would not ask for sympathy or charity from others. He would only use the money he earned. The bodyguards arranged the route. The group arrived in Africa, transferred to an off-road vehicle, avoided the country that was at war, and spent 3 days. Finally, they came to the mountainous area where diamond mines were said to be. The bodyguards helped to set up camp. The expert and his assistant were debugging the equipment, and Su Qingni and the other 2 were also doing things that could help them. Not to mention Su Qingni, Edward and Davis often went on adventures in the wild and had a lot of experience living in the wild, so the 3 of them also did their own work and did not stand by and watch, being served like masters. Liu Yixiang walked to Su Qingni with a bundle of dry firewood and whispered, "Someone is following us." Su Qingni also whispered, "I thought of it, otherwise Davis would not have bought weapons and bulletproof vests for each of us." This trip to Africa was originally a life-threatening trip. You came here knowing that it was a life-threatening trip. Liu Yixiang stared at Su Qingni in disbelief. What are these rich people thinking? They are actually playing with their lives? Su Qingni laughed, "Don't worry, I think I still have some ability and I won't kill myself." Liu Yixiang took a deep breath, his eyes fell on the wooden warehouse on Su Qingni's waist, and asked, "Can you use this thing?" Chapter 130 Modern Bastard 14. Can you use this thing? Su Qingni took out a wooden gun from his waist, and when he turned his fingers, the gun also turned. Su Qingni played with it to the fullest. Having played with weapons from the future world for a long time, he could certainly play with today's weapons. Although he was not familiar with it, once he got the hang of it, he could play it very well in a short time. Liu Yixiang looked at how well Su Qingni played and asked in surprise, "You are so good at playing with a wooden gun." Su Qingni smiled, "I occasionally go to the shooting club to play. I'm afraid it's not that easy to play. Liu Yixiang said meaningfully, your wooden gun skills must be very good. Let's have a competition when we have time. Okay. Su Qingni replied with a smile. After dinner, except for the people who stayed to keep watch, everyone else went back to their tents to rest. Su Qingni sat cross-legged in meditation, immersed in practice. In the middle of the night, a strong smell of blood came into the tent. Su Qingni opened his eyes and then closed them again. The next day, the group started working as if nothing had happened, but even the expert and his two assistants knew that the person who followed them and wanted to take advantage of the situation was gone. The exploration work began, which was a job that tested patience. However, the group was mentally prepared. Even if there was no harvest for several consecutive days, no one felt impatient. Davis and Edward, two people who loved to play, did not leave impatiently, but stayed in this place where no one was going to shit. Fortunately, they had expected this situation early on, and not only brought enough living supplies for more than a dozen people for more than a month, but also brought recreational game equipment. Su Qingni followed one of the expert's assistants and watched him use an exploration instrument. 2 days later, Su Qingni understood the principle and structure of the exploration instrument. Despite the expert's strong opposition, he dismantled the spare exploration instrument and then modified it. Su Qingni installed the exploration instrument that he had modified in the eyes of the expert and assistant, "You are a prodigal son," and started the exploration instrument in the mocking eyes of the three people, and chose a direction to explore. Half a month later, the experts and assistants did not find anything, but Su Qingni's instrument showed that there was a discovery. In the eyes of the experts and assistants who did not believe, Liu Yixiang and another bodyguard dug down according to the location indicated by Su Qingni. Not long after, they really dug out a small piece of rough diamond. The experts and assistants were stunned. They are the experts, right? They did not find the diamond, but a layman found it? Su Qingni smiled at them. This instrument found it all. The experts and assistants pounced on the modified instrument of Su Qingni, as if caressing a beautiful woman from top to bottom, and then turned to look at Su Qingni with shining eyes. Su, can you sell this instrument to me? Su Qingni very generously gave the instrument to the experts. After discovering diamonds and confirming that there is indeed a diamond mine here, the group will go home. As for the development of diamonds in the future, there will be a special person in charge. As for those who coveted the diamond mine before, after the bodyguards eliminated wave after wave of people in the dark, those people dared not to raise their heads and reach out again. Su Qingni and Edward both praised Davis for spending money worthwhile, and the bodyguards they hired were indeed powerful. Davis chuckled and whispered to his two companions, "They are bodyguards in name, but they are actually mercenaries, and they are the third-ranked mercenary group in the dark world." Edward, no wonder. Su Qingni raised his eyebrows. Dark world? Do you have relevant information and contact information? It sounds very interesting. Davis told Su Qingni the news and contact information of the dark world he knew, and reminded Su Qingni, the dark world is not for ordinary people. We ordinary people can pay people in the dark world to do things for us, but we must not have too deep contact with them, let alone kick them in. Thank you for your reminder, Davis, I know it. Su Qingni said with a smile. Davis and Edward are both ordinary people, so they should not get too deeply involved in the dark world, but Su Qingni is very skilled. He knows ancient martial arts and fighting skills from the future world. He is not an ordinary person. The way back was very leisurely, but God could not see them being leisurely. They had obviously bypassed the countries that were at war, so why were they still involved in the war? Has the war spread to the surrounding countries? The group bent over and relied on the outer wall of the off-road vehicle to block the bullets. The driver twisted the car to avoid the bullets that were shot from unknown directions. As expected of the third-ranked mercenary group, the driver's driving skills were very high, avoiding most of the bullets and artillery fire, but there were too many bullets and artillery fire on the battlefield. In the end, all 5 cars were scrapped, and everyone could only get out of the car and run to a sheltered place with their bodies down. Fortunately, they just strayed into the battlefield and were not the main targets of the two sides of the battle. Therefore, when the group ran into a house to hide, all 15 people were still alive. But unfortunately, Davis, Edward, the expert, one of his assistants, and 2 bodyguards were all injured. Liu Yixiang had the foresight to bring down the medical kit when he left the car. Although he did not study medicine, He had received first aid training, and he was very skilled in dealing with wounds because he had been injured many times. Liu Yixiang helped several people dig out the bullets and bandage their wounds. Everyone was very depressed. Although there were buildings to help block the artillery fire and bullets, it was not safe here. If unfortunately a shell happened to fall on a building, everyone would be finished. But now they have no car, and there are wounded people with injured feet. It is 10 times more difficult to escape from the battlefield. Among the wounded are the employers of the bodyguards. These bodyguards who are mercenaries are very trustworthy and cannot leave their employers and run away. Otherwise, their credit will be reduced, and no one will be willing to hire them again. They can't make money. How can they live and enjoy themselves? When everyone was at a loss, the voices outside began to get smaller. Several mercenaries showed joy on their faces. The battle is almost over. 2 mercenaries ventured out to check the situation outside. Sure enough, one side was defeated and the other side won the battle. When all the wooden slamming sounds stop, we will go out. Bodyguard A said, we are holding the passports of the United States. No matter which side wins, it will not be disadvantageous to us. By the way, boss, do you still have the bag of diamonds with you? Yes. Davis understood how serious the current situation was. He did not get angry when Bodyguard A asked him about the diamonds and did not hide them. He directly took out a bag of diamonds. Chapter 131 Modern Bastard 15. Bodyguard A was not greedy for the diamonds. These diamonds were taken from the small piece of raw stone that was dug out. The number was actually very small. If the bodyguard was greedy, it would be more trouble than gain. Bodyguard A took the bag of diamonds and said, we will use this bag of diamonds to exchange a car with the victorious soldiers and let us leave. 1 car is not enough, there are 15 of us. Davis said. Bodyguard A sneered, what good car do you think you can get with this bag of diamonds? At most, you can get a Ford truck that is on the verge of being scrapped, or the smallest one. But you are the boss, you can sit in the passenger seat, and others can only sit in the back truck. Davis touched his nose with his finger. Riding a truck? This is the first time in his life that he has ridden such a low-end car. Bodyguard A has good communication skills. He used a small bag of diamonds to exchange for a small truck. Of course, it was not a Ford, but a Dongfeng truck from the flower country. Because Dongfeng trucks are cheaper than Ford trucks. The car had 2 rows of seats, so Davis and Edward, as well as the expert and his injured assistant, were sitting in the front cab, while Su Qingni sat in the back truck with the bodyguards. Everyone in the truck held the wooden can in their hands. Although they were far away from the battlefield, it did not mean that they were safe. There were many people who wanted to take advantage of the fire along the way. Along the way, they encountered several groups of people who were not sure whether they were robbers or retreating troops. The bodyguards acted decisively and opened the wooden can to warn those people before they approached the truck. If someone ignored the warning, they would directly open the wooden can at the person. Su Qingni also opened the wooden can. Although he had killed many people in the game, it was the first time he killed someone in reality. This feeling was not very good. But it was precisely because of the experience in the game that Su Qingni quickly adapted to this feeling. The next time he encountered an ambush, Su Qingni was more decisive than the bodyguards, and the wooden can method was not in vain. Brother, your Mu Kang Fa is really good, and you never miss a shot. Liu Yixiang patted Su Qingni on the shoulder and said, I see that you don't go to the shooting club occasionally, but hang out there every day, right? Su Qingni laughed, I really only go there occasionally. The Mu Kang Fa Hai can only show that I am a genius in this area. Indeed, you are a genius. Bodyguard A praised, in addition to your Mu Kang Fa, your mental quality is even better. Brother, you are born to be a mercenary. Do you want to consider joining us? Liu Yixiang hurriedly said, Su is a top student at Stanford University. He is a research-oriented otaku and will not be a mercenary. Su Qingni, I will consider it. Liu Yixiang turned back and glared at Su Qingni. Su Qingni smiled at him, in addition to studying and researching, change your life and relax. Liu Yixiang said with a wooden face, mercenaries are not places where people can relax. If you relax, you will lose your life. Su Qingni said, that's it. Liu Yixiang thought Su Qingni had given up the idea of becoming a mercenary, and talked to Su Qingni about other topics. We're about to reach the border. After we cross the border, we'll be in country N, and we can take a plane to leave Africa. Bodyguard B said. Liu Yixiang said, I thought this mission wasn't particularly difficult, but we're all going home, and the difficulty has suddenly increased. Bodyguard A said, you must ask your employer for more money after you go back. Su Qingni said, don't worry, Davis has plenty of money. What's more, he now has a diamond mine. Liu Yixiang smiled and said, you also have a share of the diamond mine, and you're also a rich man. Su Qingni sighed, it's not enough for my goal. Liu Yixiang asked curiously, what is your goal? Su Qingni, the richest man in the world. Liu Yixiang, brother, come on. I support you in my heart and cheer you up. The border was in sight, but such a short journey was even more uneasy. In the end, the group did not reach the border and they were caught. Although the bodyguards were powerful, facing hundreds of people pointing weapons at their heads, the bodyguards made the wisest choice. They threw away their weapons, were tied up by the soldiers, and were taken to a base and locked up. Because of their identities, the people who arrested them did not kill them, but prepared to use them for money. These non-government armed forces are very short of money, especially to support so many subordinates. Davis and Edward are big fat fish in the eyes of these people. Su Qingni and the expert bodyguards are just by the way, and can be exchanged for a little money. The bodyguards who came from the dark world know a lot of information and data. During this journey, although the soldiers escorting them did not say anything, through observation, the bodyguards still judged what kind of force the armed team that captured them belonged to. This is a terrorist organization. The people in this organization are the most ruthless and unrighteous. They kidnap people for ransom, but they do not release them after getting the ransom. Most of them were killed by them. The group is in danger. Although the terrorist forces did not kill them now, they mainly wanted to let them live and contact their families. Once they got the ransom, they would be useless and their lives would be in danger. Shit. How could we be so unlucky to be caught by Black Star? Bodyguard B was very frustrated. Observe the surroundings and collect more useful information. When the guards are careless, we will escape. Bodyguard A said, but he was actually very uncertain. Although they were all good at fighting, they were now in the base camp of the terrorist forces. He had no confidence that they could escape safely. If they didn't escape, they would be dead. If they escaped, there was still a glimmer of hope. What about the employer? Bodyguard C asked in a low voice. Bodyguard A glanced at Davis and the others inside. There is no way. It is unknown whether we can escape alive. Taking them with us would be a drag. I am afraid there is no hope at all. Not only the employer, but also Rhodes and Peter, we have to give up. Rhodes and Peter were one of the bodyguards. Unfortunately, they were injured when they mistakenly entered the battlefield. The two calmly accepted being abandoned by their partners. Liu Yixiang looked at Su Qingni, who was sitting next to Davis, with his head down, thinking about something. Out of brotherhood, he said, take Su with you. He is very skilled and won't hold us back. Bodyguard A thought about it and agreed. Everyone saw Su Qingni's previous performance. Whether it was his skills or his fighting skills, he was not inferior to those of the veteran mercenaries. Okay, go call him over and we'll discuss an escape plan. Bodyguard A nodded. Liu Yixiang struggled with his hands, and the ropes that bound his hands came off. He untied the ropes on his feet with his hands and walked towards Su Qingni. Chapter 132 Modern Bastard 16. Following Liu Yixiang's actions, the other bodyguards also broke free from their restraints. Ropes can tie up ordinary people, but they can't tie up mercenaries who are walking on the edge of life and death. Although they have decided to give up Davis and other ordinary people, the bodyguards still stepped forward to help them untie them, at least to make it easier for them while they are alive. Liu Yixiang walked to Su Qingni and was about to help him untie him, but he saw Su Qingni's hands tremble, and his hands were freed from the rope loop, and then he untied the restraints on his ankles. Liu Yixiang smiled after seeing this, squatted down and said, Lawrence is right, you are very powerful, it would be a pity if you don't become a mercenary. Su Qingni raised his head and smiled, didn't you persuade me not to enter the dark world? Liu Yixiang said, I have the same idea now. Although you are very powerful, this world is really not suitable for you. Su Qingni smiled and asked, what were you whispering about just now? Liu Yixiang said, I have something to ask you, come with me. As he said that, he pulled Su Qingni to the other side away from Davis and others. Bodyguard A, that is, Lawrence and the other 6 uninjured bodyguards helped Davis and others untie and walked over. Rhodes and Peter stayed with Davis. We decided to escape tonight. Lawrence said directly, you are very skilled, we decided to take you with you, but we plan to give up your two friends. Su Qingni listened to Lawrence's words, and did not show the expression of surprise, anger or joy as Lawrence expected, nor did he question them out loud, but was very calm. This made Lawrence admire and regret in his heart. It was a pity that this person was not from the same world as them, otherwise he would definitely recruit this person into their mercenary group. Now let's discuss the escape plan. Lawrence spoke again. Everyone made a detailed plan on how to escape, how to kill the guards, what kind of escape route to make, and how to get weapons and transportation. Su Qingni nodded repeatedly when he heard it. These bodyguards were worthy of being mercenaries who came from the regular army and had been working for many years. They were very good at making combat plans. What do you think? Lawrence asked Su Qingni. He didn't expect Su Qingni to come up with any useful opinions, but since everyone else had expressed their opinions, he had to give him a chance, so as not to make Su Qingni feel that everyone didn't respect him. Su Qingni glanced at the bodyguards and said, I heard that you mercenaries value credibility very much. You must complete the task after receiving it, otherwise it will affect your credibility. The bodyguards nodded. Su Qingni said, if you abandon Davis now, the mission will fail, and it will have a great impact on your credibility. No way. Lawrence said, there is little hope of escaping this base safely. Not to mention that they are all ordinary people, and they are also injured. Taking them with us will only make them die faster, and they will also hinder us and affect our plan. You see, we even gave up Rhodes and Peter. It is really a last resort. Su Qingni shook his head. No, it's not a last resort. We can escape, and we can also take Davis and others with us. Are you dreaming? Bodyguard B couldn't help but screamed, we can't even protect our own lives, and we have to take a few people who hold us back. It's strange that we can escape. His voice attracted Davis and others to look over. There is no fool. Davis and others heard the words of Bodyguard B clearly and realized that they might be abandoned by the bodyguards. They understand the current situation and know that the bodyguards have made a very correct decision for them. However, as abandoned people, they still feel uncomfortable. This is because they don't know how cruel the terrorist forces that kidnapped them are, and they don't want them alive. They just think that as long as they pay the ransom, the kidnappers will let them go. Therefore, although Davis is not very comfortable, he is not afraid. Anyway, his family is rich. Su Qingni smiled at Davis and others, turned his head and said to Lawrence and other bodyguards, my ears are very sensitive and my hearing is very good. I heard everything you whispered before you called me. So what? Although they were surprised that Su Qingni had sensitive ears and heard the previous conversation, the bodyguards didn't think so. So what if he heard it? Even if Liu Yixiang didn't propose to take Su Qingni away with him, they wouldn't be afraid if he was unhappy and shouted out the content of their conversation. But a few ordinary people who are destined to die, do they have the ability to stop their actions? They dared to shout and attract the attention of the Black Star people, so they knocked them out first. Su Qingni stretched out his left hand and flicked his earlobe, smiling and saying, on the way to being kidnapped by the Black Star people, I heard what several leaders said not far away. The bodyguards all felt something keenly, and their eyes were all fixed on Su Qingni's face. Su Qingni smiled and said, I heard that the Black Star organization will take action 3 nights later, and it will be a very large action. It seems that they are competing with another force for the ruling power of a certain place. In the next 2 days, they will mobilize troops and send most of the people in the base out, leaving less than 100 people to guard the house. The eyes of the bodyguards all lit up. Su Qingni continued to smile and said, with your skills, brothers, you can kill 10 of these soldiers in the Black Star base, right? When the time comes, we will kill all the remaining people. Won't we be able to take Davis and others away safely? Your mission will not end in failure, and your credibility will not be affected. By the way, I also heard that there are helicopters in this base. By the time comes, we can leave by helicopter and not go to neighboring countries. Let's fly directly back to the United States, so as to avoid accidents on the ground. If what you said is true, then do as you say. Lawrence said, but if what you said is not true? Su Qingni said, whether it is true or not, don't we all have to escape? If it is not true, let's act according to the plan you discussed before. If it is true, we may be much more relaxed. At most, It will not delay for one more day. Lawrence nodded. Then do as you say. I hope what you said is true. In preparation for the operation 3 days later, the Black Star organization was busy mobilizing its troops and had no time to deal with the captured people. They thought that the people would not be able to escape since they were locked up there, and they would deal with them after they seized control of a certain place, asking for their identities, recording videos and asking their families for ransom. Chapter 133 Modern Bastard 17. The Black Star organization had no time to care about Su Qingni and others, which indirectly proved that they really had a big move. The bodyguard's belief in Su Qingni's words increased from 3 points to 6 points. Rhodes and Peter learned what Su Qingni said from their partners, and knew that there was hope for survival, so they were very good to Su Qingni. The night of the second day, it should be said that the early morning of the third day. 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning is the time when humans are most tired. Even those who are used to night owls fall asleep at this time. Su Qingni and the bodyguards began to act. Su Qingni took out a soybean-sized thing from his clothes pocket and threw it out of the cell. Liu Yixiang asked in confusion, "What is this?" Su Qingni replied, "A few small gadgets I made before." It was really a small gadget, and the size was really small. The soldiers who caught them did not find this thing when they searched them. "What is it for?" Lawrence asked. The jamming signal can not only jam the communication signal, but also jam the surveillance camera to send the captured image back to the control room. What a good thing. Lawrence was extremely happy. Without the surveillance camera, this base became a hunting ground for several of them. The relationship between hunter and prey was suddenly reversed. "Do you still have this thing?" Lawrence asked hurriedly. Su Qingni shook his head. "There is only this one." Just as Lawrence's face fell in disappointment, Su Qingni continued, "But I can make more." Lawrence hurriedly said, "How much is one?" "Let's buy it." Su Qingni asked, "How many do you want to buy?" Lawrence, "Of course the more the better, let's buy 100 first." Su Qingni shook his head again, "Too many, I can't do it alone." Lawrence, "Then how many can you make?" Su Qingni, "I thought about it and decided not to make it myself." Lawrence panicked, "Brother, don't you want to make money?" Su Qingni, "No, I thought of another way to have the best of both worlds." Lawrence asked, "What method?" Su Qingni grinned, revealing a mouthful of bright white teeth that could be used in toothpaste advertisements. "You should have mechanical experts in the dark world. I can sell the manufacturing drawings to you, and you can find experts to make them yourself." Lawrence thought this was a good idea and immediately said, "How much?" Su Qingni, "One price, 10 million. Lawrence gritted his teeth and said, "Deal." 10 million sounds like a lot, but it's still a good deal compared to the value of something like this. With such a small thing, the danger of their mercenary group when doing missions can be reduced a lot, and the lives of the brothers can be more protected. Compared to this, it's really a good deal to buy this thing for 10 million. The Black Star base is very quiet. Most people have left the base, and the remaining people are very relaxed. They don't believe that anyone dares to attack their base. However, nothing is absolute in the world. No one dares to attack their base, but they themselves tied the god of death into the base, and death became their end. The destruction of the base has become an inevitable outcome. Su Qingni walked in the dark, silently harvesting one life after another. Liu Yixiang is his partner. Seeing Su Qingni's performance, Liu Yixiang was amazed. While admiring him, he couldn't help but worry. Su Qingni didn't take human life seriously. Would he become a murderer and be wanted by the whole world in the future? Su Qingni killed a soldier, turned around and smiled at Liu Yixiang, saying, "Don't worry, I am a good citizen who abides by the law. I had to kill someone this time. Besides, the law in this country cannot protect its citizens." Liu Yixiang was embarrassed for a moment when his thoughts were seen through, but he quickly adjusted himself. "I'm curious about how you have such good skills. Your every move is like a veteran on the battlefield, but your age and experience show that you have never joined the army." Liu Yixiang said, "You give me a mysterious feeling." Su Qingni smiled and said, "I am gifted, do you believe it?" Liu Yixiang, he. Su Qingni still smiled, "Then I said that I awakened the memory of my past life, do you believe it?" Liu Yixiang, he. Su Qingni continued to laugh, "In fact, I have a holographic game from the future, which is based on the background of interstellar war. All my combat skills are learned in the game. Although I am only 20 years old, I have been learning to fight in the game for 30 years. Liu Yixiang, he. Su Qingni spread his hands. I tell the truth, but you don't believe it. Liu Yixiang, young man, I also often read online novels. I am also familiar with these stocks. This time it was Su Qingni's turn to laugh. The two talked, but they did not stop. When they met the enemy, the two killed them mercilessly. They found the enemy's arsenal and placed time bombs in it. On the other side, Lawrence found the helicopter. Bodyguards B and C, together with Rod Peter, took Davis and Edward out of the cell, as well as a dozen people kidnapped by the Black Star organization. 2 or 3 of these dozen people were very extraordinary. They had promised Bodyguard B and others that once they escaped safely, they would transfer half of the ransom originally paid to the Black Star organization to Bodyguard B and others as a reward for saving their lives. Lawrence divided the people into 2 groups and boarded 2 planes. When the planes rose into the sky, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and their hearts finally returned to their original place. Especially Davis and his men, they knew from the people they rescued from behind how evil the Black Star organization was. They were the kind that took money but still wanted lives. They had a big turn with the god of death. Now that they were finally safe, Davis and Edward collapsed directly on the bottom of the plane. The plane flew for about 10 minutes, and suddenly there was a deafening roar. When everyone looked in the direction they came from, they saw a mushroom cloud rushing into the sky. Su Qingni said quietly, I thought I would see fireworks, but it turned out to be a mushroom cloud. It's not pretty. Liu Yixiang, haha. Davis used the communicator on the plane to contact his family, and his family helped to get in touch with the Aviation Bureau. The 2 planes successfully entered the sky over the United States and landed at the airport in Hawaii. After getting off the plane, everyone felt as if they were in another world. Davis and the other 2 paid the remuneration readily. The remuneration was transferred from Lawrence's account to Su Qingni's account. Su Qingni did not delay and drew the drawings and marked the precautions, and handed the drawings to Lawrence. Goodbye, Liu. Su Qingni said goodbye to Liu Yixiang with a smile. Chapter 134 Modern Bastard 18. Goodbye, Liu. No, not goodbye, but farewell forever. Liu Yixiang said, we can't see each other again. They belong to different worlds. Su Qingni belongs to the world of light and law, and Liu Yixiang belongs to the dark world. They will never meet again. Su Qingni smiled and said, I have a feeling that we will meet again. After that, he turned and left. Liu Yixiang looked at Su Qingni's back and felt a toothache. More than 3 months later, there was a Lone Ranger mercenary named Yun in the dark world. His skills and abilities are extremely powerful, and he completes the tasks he receives 100%. He rarely accepts tasks, but every time he accepts a task, it is very difficult and detailed and guaranteed to be completed. This makes the reputation of Yun in the dark world rise sharply, crushing those old mercenary groups. When Liu Yixiang saw the word Yun, he had a strange premonition in his heart. One day, he was lucky enough to see that Yun and finally knew that Yun was Su Qingni. This guy really came to the dark world. However, this guy did not give up his career and studies in the normal world. It is said that he published another paper, which made the bigwigs in the academic world pay more attention to Su Qingni. Stanford University even awarded Su Qingni a doctorate in advance. The diamond mine has been mined. As one of the shareholders, Su Qingni has fixed assets of more than 10 billion. In addition to his investment in Wall Street, the bonus for the paper, and the patent fees for the application of new theories, Liu Yixiang made a preliminary estimate that this guy is not far from the goal of being the richest man in the world. This guy is really annoying. Since God has given Su Qingni a smart brain, why did he give him such good skills? Alice, ignore that guy. Su Qingni's life is full of fun. Usually, he studies and writes papers seriously. When he needs to rest his brain, he goes to the dark world to take a few tasks to play. It is exciting and interesting. By the way, he spends some time to take care of his assets. Seeing his assets increase online every year, Su Qingni feels so comfortable. He calculated that his total assets have surpassed Su Guofu. Su Qingni found professionals and set up a charity fund. He invested all the money he earned into the charity fund and did charity all over the world. First, he built roads and hope primary schools in the poor mountainous areas of the country, then donated money and materials to every welfare home in the country, and then brought warmth to the children in Africa. Su Qingni's name entered the sight of many bigwigs. As early as when Su Qingni proposed many new theories, the bigwigs noticed him. The bigwigs were still worried that this child would stay abroad to help foreign countries develop science and technology, but looking at his series of charitable actions, it can be seen that this is a good child, and his heart is towards the motherland. So they sent people to contact Su Qingni, hoping that Su Qingni would return to China for research and help the country develop science and technology. Su Qingni nodded and agreed very readily, but made a request. Well, I hoped not to stop him from continuing to mix in the dark world. That he promised that in a normal society, he would absolutely follow the rules, abide by the law, and never do anything wrong. But, the brain is used too much, it needs to rest, and the pressure accumulated too much also needs to be released. The dark world is the best platform to release pressure and relax the brain. The bosses. This kid is too different. After knowing Su Qingni's powerful strength, the bosses agreed to her request, but also made 3 rules for him: not to harm the lives of innocent people, not to do things that violate the law, and to change from being a lone ranger to working in a team. The other 2 people in the team were sent by the country to protect him. Su Qingni agreed with a smile, packed his bags, got rid of the hands of his mentors, and returned to China. Less than a year after returning to China, Su Qingni delivered brilliant results. He proposed 2 major theories that could advance the technology of the entire Earth by 30 years. Su Qingni was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Physics. Su Guofu saw Su Qingni on the news broadcast, and he rubbed his eyes hard at the time. That's right, that familiar face, even though he hadn't seen it for many years, he still recognized it at a glance. Listening to the news host broadcasting Su Qingni's achievements, the expression on Su Guofu's face changed from shock to incomparable complexity. He knew that Su Qingni was very good, but he didn't expect Su Qingni to be so good. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize, a world-class scientist, a national treasure. These achievements were all what he had to look up to. He was always proud of himself for creating hundreds of millions of wealth from scratch, but compared with his son's achievements, these were nothing at all. No wonder Su Qingni didn't want his company and left after knowing his plan. He let Su Qingni inherit his company and work hard for the Su family, which would only restrict Su Qingni's talent. He was sorry for this child. He felt bad that his son didn't recognize him. Zhang's mother looked at the TV, her face flushed and wide, and her heart was no less complicated than Su Guofu's. Su Qingni didn't have too many complicated thoughts. She always treated Su Qingni as a stranger, before and now. She didn't care whether Su Qingni was good or bad. She was more concerned about whether the painting she was drawing would be recognized by her mentor. Su Qingni was kidnapped when he went abroad to attend the Nobel Prize ceremony. Many forces wanted to get his brain, which was called the most precious in the world. The kidnappers were all very skilled and well equipped with weapons. Their plan was very careful and unexpected. All the people who went abroad with Su Qingni to protect Su Qingni were caught in the trap and all fell down, including the reporter who followed Su Qingni throughout the live broadcast. However, he fell down, but the live broadcast was not turned off. The audience in the live broadcast room saw someone kidnapping Su Qingni. The audience was frightened and called the police for help, but the police uncle could not do anything. The scientist Su Da was now on the plane and had left the country. They were out of reach. More people poured into the live broadcast room to see how Su Qingni was. They all praying that Su Qingni, the young genius scientist, could escape danger. Su Guofu stared at the computer screen with great worry. After receiving the news, he immediately disbanded the meeting involving a project worth hundreds of millions, hurried back to the office and turned on the computer. Everyone thought that Su Qingni was either kidnapped or killed by the criminals, but the next scene in the live broadcast shocked everyone. After the person protecting him fell down, he looked at the gentle academician Su. Su Qingni was the youngest academician of the Academy of Sciences of China, and stood up with a smile. The criminals did not take academician Su, a weak chicken, seriously at all. They had successfully defeated the most powerful enemy they thought, and now it was time to reap the fruits. Chapter 135 Modern Bastard 19. At this moment, academician Su moved. He rushed to the 2 gangsters at the fastest speed like a nimble cheetah, and knocked them down in one encounter. That speed. The audience in front of the live broadcast saw the after image. Academician Su snatched the wooden gun of a gangster and shot the other gangsters. That action was so cool, much more handsome than the actions of those stars in the wooden gun battle movies, and it was far better than those stars. Moreover, Academician Su's wooden gun method was very accurate. He knocked down the gangsters one by one. When the last one fell down, they heard the gangster yelled at Academician Su in horror, "Are you Yoon? Isn't this nonsense? Isn't Academician Su's name Qingni? Since the gangsters came to kidnap Academician Su, how could they not know Academician Su's name? Is it necessary to shout so exaggeratedly? Ordinary people don't know the existence of the dark world, but people with certain power know the existence of the dark world." They heard the gangsters shout and understood what he meant. He didn't call Academician Su's name, but the title of Yoon, the #1 mercenary in the dark world. Academician Su is actually the world's #1 mercenary? This is too unexpected. However, looking at Academician Su's skills in the live broadcast, he is very likely to be Yoon. He has a good mind and good skills. He is a top figure in the field of science. He is also a top figure in the dark world where the strong are respected. He is both literary and martial. How can there be such an extraordinary existence in the world? Oh my god, now that they know that Academician Su is Yoon, they dare not make plans for Academician Su in the future. Su Guofu was fortunate to know the existence of the dark world. Originally, he was just an ordinary businessman with some money and should not know the existence of the dark world. But by accident, he knew the existence of the dark world through a partner and even had transactions with the dark world. He also knew Yoon. After all, Yoon was very famous in the dark world because of his strong strength. He didn't expect that Yoon was Su Qingni. Haha, haha. Su Guofu covered his face and laughed, mocking and bitter. His son. How good is he? What else does he not know? Later, after seeing the familiar name on Fox's wealth rankings, Su Guofu learned about another extraordinary thing about Su Qingni. 10 years later, Su Qingni led people to develop a manned spacecraft that allows ordinary people to travel in the universe as common as traveling by plane. Planets such as Mars and Mercury were developed as one of the tourist attractions for humans to enter space. 20 years later, the Starship was launched. Such things were originally only conceived in film and television works, but Su Qingni and his research team made fiction a reality. This large interstellar aircraft took the first batch of explorers out of the solar system to explore the existence of other stars, interstellar and civilizations. 100 years later, the Earth discovered the existence of other civilizations and established friendly diplomatic relations with other civilizations. The people of the Earth are very grateful to Su Qingni. It was he who pushed forward the Earth's scientific and technological inventions for at least 500 years. Only such an Earth is qualified to communicate peacefully with another civilization at the same level, otherwise, they may be annexed by another civilization. When Su Guofu was dying, Su Qingni came to see him. Su Guofu asked Su Qingni if he hated him as an irresponsible father. Su Qingni replied that without expectation, there would be no hatred. Su Guofu burst into tears and apologized to Su Qingni. Su Qingni accepted his apology. Su Guofu asked Su Qingni to take care of his grandson. Su Qingni thought about it and agreed, "I won't help him too much. If someone wants to take away something that belongs to him, I will help him get it back. Then, I won't care what he chooses." That's it. Su Guofu said gratefully. He didn't think Su Qingni would agree. Before that, he had made arrangements to protect the interests of his grandson. But nothing is absolute, and his son-in-law is not a good person. What if he really has a guilty conscience? Fortunately, Su Qingni is still there. Su Guofu was relieved, and Su Guofu died that night. Su Qingni died a year ago, leaving behind a son who is only 15 years old now. Her husband Ke Zifeng is a very capable man. He was originally a management talent hired by Su Guofu at a high salary. When Su Qingni went to the company to find Su Guofu, she saw Ke Zifeng and fell in love with a tall and elegant Ke Zifeng at first sight. Ke Zifeng is 10 years older than Su Qingni. He has been married, and his wife died and left a daughter. Su Guofu felt that Ke Zifeng was not worthy of his daughter, and he was even more unwilling to let his daughter become a stepmother, so he did not agree to their marriage. But Su Qingni was overwhelmed by love and insisted on marrying Ke Zifeng. Su Guofu had no choice but to agree to their marriage. After Ke Zifeng and Su Qingni got married, Su Guofu no longer trusted Ke Zifeng as before and began to guard against him, but Ke Zifeng's ability was so outstanding that Su Guofu had to rely on Ke Zifeng on some things. Gradually, Ke Zifeng has taken control of the company. Su Guofu was worried that after his death, K Zifan would no longer have the power to suppress him in the company, so he changed the company's name from Su to K. He was worried that K Zifan would seize the shares and power in his grandson's name, so he made arrangements and guarantees for his grandson. However, he was old after all, and he could not match K Zifan in terms of tactics. K Zifan had known about Su Guofu's arrangements for a long time, and he had a hand in them. Those arrangements could only protect a small part of the interests of his grandson Su Qingni, and more interests were eventually snatched by K Zifan. Less than 3 months after Su Guofu's death, the Su group changed its owner and changed its surname to K. K Zifan brought back an illegitimate son who was older than Su Qingni, and married the illegitimate son's biological mother as his third wife. Su Qingni's status in the family plummeted, and she was treated the same as her half-sister Kaloya. Kaloya smiled and said to Su Qingni, "Neither of us is the child he expected." The only child he expected and loved was Kaloru. Kaloru's biological mother was his true love. "He married my mother and your mother for our grandfather's family property. You don't know, he is actually a Phoenix man. It was only after he married my mother that he had the money to go to college and become a so-called elite." The boy looked unhappy. "Why didn't you say it earlier?" Kaloya smiled. "Say it earlier? Would you believe it? If you don't experience it yourself, you will just treat what I said as bullshit. By the way, my mother died of illness, and your mother also died of illness. Have you thought of anything?" The boy widened his eyes. You mean? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Modern Bastard 20. Su Qingni had no ability to confirm whether his mother was murdered, just as Kaloya was just guessing and could not confirm it. Su Qingni remembered a phone number that his grandfather had asked him to remember before he died. "If your father has let you down, call this number for help." Grandpa did not say who the owner of the phone number was, but when he said this number, his expression was very cautious, indicating that the owner of this number was different from his previous arrangement and his identity must be extraordinary. Su Qingni dialed the number, and the ringtone rang 3 times. The phone was connected, and a cold and pleasant male voice came from it. Su Qingni. "Hello, I'm Su Qingni. My grandfather asked me to help you with something. Leave the Su family and go to Shanghai Music Plaza. I'll have someone pick you up." After saying that, the man hung up the phone very straightforwardly. Su Qingni was stunned for a long time holding the phone, and then he reacted and quickly changed his clothes and walked out of the house. When he arrived at the music square, Su Qingni thought he would wait for a while, but just as he got off the taxi, a tall man appeared in front of him. "Mr. Su Qingni." "Yes, I am. Come with me." Su Qingni hesitated for a moment. What if this man is a bad guy? His cell phone rang, and Su Qingni quickly answered it. A cold voice came from the phone. "Follow him." "Oh, okay." Dispelling his suspicion and fear, Su Qingni quickly followed the man and got into a low-key car. The car took Su Qingni for a while and went out of the city. The car suddenly took off. It took off. It's empty. It's gone. Su Qingni opened his mouth wide and couldn't close it for a long time. The man pressed a button, and the car switched to automatic driving. The speed increased tenfold in an instant. It flew into the air with a whoosh and flew towards the distance. After doing all this, the man turned back to Su Qingni and said, "This is the flying car developed by Academician Su. It has undergone various tests and will be put on the market soon." Academician Su. Su Qingni's eyes suddenly became bright. Academician Su is his idol. Not only him, Academician Su is a global idol. The man nodded. Su Qingni was so excited. He had the chance to ride in the flying car that Academician Su had just developed. He had to show off to his friends. "Can I take a picture?" The man agreed. Su Qingni quickly took out his phone and took a few pictures inside the flying car. He also took a few pictures looking out of the flying car and posted them on his Weibo. "I'm riding in a flying car." You ask what a flying car is? Of course it's a car that can fly in the sky. It was developed by Academician Su and it hasn't been put on the market yet. Su Qingni waited for a while, and sure enough, There was a lot of envy and jealousy under his weibo. Su Qingni, he felt a little relieved from his depressed mood. Su Qingni put down his phone and looked out the window. The speed of the flying car was very fast. In just a short while, it had flown a long distance. But where is it going? Su Qingni asked. The man replied, to Beijing. Academician Su is busy with work and cannot leave Beijing, so he can only spare some time to meet you. Academician Su. Su Qingni was shocked and stuttered, You want to take me to see Academician Su? The man raised his eyebrows. Don't you know that the person you are going to see is Academician Su? Su Qingni shook his head vigorously. I don't know. The man shut up and stopped talking. Su Qingni also shut up. He was dizzy. He thought that Grandpa was really amazing. He actually knew Academician Su. If he had known earlier, he would have asked Grandpa to introduce him to Academician Su. Oh my, he's going to meet Academician Su. Is the clothes he is wearing now too casual? Will Academician Su think he is impolite? Su Qingni thought about this and that all the way until he was brought to Su Qingni. I'll give you 10 minutes, tell me if you have anything to say. Su Qingni looked at the boy's face. As the saying goes, nephews resemble their uncles. Although he and Su Qingni were not born of the same mother, the boy in front of him looked very much like him. The boy was so excited that he didn't realize how much he looked like the man in front of him. He tried his best to calm himself down. After at least 2 minutes, the boy spoke. I would like to ask you to help me investigate the cause of death of my mother and my sister's biological mother. Su Qingni raised his eyebrows and asked, Do you suspect that Su Qingni's death was caused by your biological father? The boy replied gloomily, I don't want to doubt it, but Kaloya said that her mother and my mother had the same cause of death. They both died of the same disease. This alone is not normal. Su Qingni nodded. Okay, I'll let you help you investigate. He asked, after the investigation is clear, if it is really K Zifan who killed your mother, what will you choose? The boy's face was full of pain, and he gritted his teeth and said, if it was him who killed my mother, then let's handle it according to the law. Okay. Su Qingni agreed. You still have 3 years before you come of age, and I will have someone transfer your guardianship to my name. But I will only be your nominal guardian, and you can take care of the rest. Huh? The boy answered stupidly, guardianship? Transfer to your name? Is it okay? Of course, I'm your uncle, your blood uncle. This time, the boy was even more dumbfounded. Su Qingni was sent back to the Su family in a daze. When he returned to his room, he was still dazed. This news was really too shocking for him. His idol, a world-class idol, a national treasure-level scientist, and the existence he admired the most were actually related to him by blood. Excitement can no longer describe his current mood. The boy wanted to rush out and loudly declare that Su Qingni was his uncle, but the remaining rationality made him give up the behavior. The boy rolled back and forth on the bed to vent his excitement. Yes, Su Qingni and Su Qingni, the names sound like siblings. I was a pikehead before and didn't even realize this. For several days in a row, the boy didn't calm down. Every day seemed to be living in a dream. Kaloya couldn't help frowning when he saw him like this. Wouldn't this kid be hit by what she said and become like this? But this look is not so much a trance caused by being hit and sad, but a trance caused by being too excited. But what can make this kid so excited? Nothing. I guess it was because the blow was too severe. As the saying goes, things will turn into the opposite when they reach the extreme, so they behaved so strangely. Just when Kaloya was thinking about whether to show her brotherly love in front of the boy and persuade him, the boy came to Kaloya with a stack of information. Chapter 137 Modern Bastard 21. Su Qingni acted quickly. In just 2 days, all the evidence of K Zifan's murder of his 2 wives was collected and sent to Su Qingni. Su Qingni took the information to Kaloya. After Kaloya read the information, his eyes immediately turned red, filled with sadness and hatred. It's him. Su Qingni's eyes were also red. He couldn't imagine that the image of a good father and a good husband who always loved him and cared for his mother was all disguised by someone. His heart was so cruel. For money and status, he killed 2 innocent women. In this man's heart, the children born to him by the 2 women were not his children. His only child was the one born to him by his true love. The other children were just objects for him to use. He raised Kaloya to wait for him to grow up and introduce him to marriage. He raised Su Qingzhao to appease the old employees of Su's. Moreover, Ke Zifeng had not yet taken away all the things that Su Guofu left to Su Qingzhao. I decided to call the police and send him and his true love to jail. Su Qingzhao said, "What about you? Are you going to stop me?" Kaloi raised his hand to wipe the tears on both sides of his cheeks, and snorted, "Why should I stop you? I have long hoped that he would go to jail to atone for my mother's sins. Well, let's go to the police station together." Yet, Ke Zifeng has always been smart and thinks that everything is under his control, and the people around him are also under his control. He did not expect that the two children who were used as tools by him would one day escape from his control and retaliate. When the two children appeared in front of him with the police, he still wanted to show off his father's majesty and teach the two children a lesson, but was stopped by the police. "I don't have children like you who are disloyal," Ke Zifeng said angrily. "We don't have a father like you, who killed our biological mother's father." Su Qingzhao glared at Ke Zifeng. "You used illegal means to transfer the Su family's property. Do you think you can do it without anyone noticing? Haha, with my uncle here, everything you did will be exposed. I will apply to the court to recover the property that belongs to the Su family. You don't have much property at all, so don't even think about leaving it to your son of true love. His dear father is a phoenix man from a poor family. He will also be beaten back to his original form. He is not a rich second generation, but just a son of a poor person. You. Ke Zifeng was so angry that he wanted to break free from the police's restraints and went forward to beat Su Qingzhao, but it was impossible. The police uncles are not vegetarians, allowing criminals to hurt innocent people in front of them. Kaloi stepped forward and said coldly to Ke Zifeng, "Your true love has also been arrested. You two can be a loving couple in prison." Ke Zifeng killed 2 wives, and his true love was an accomplice. Both of them were sentenced to heavy sentences. Don't think about getting out of prison in this life. Ke Zifeng's biological parents angrily found trouble with Kaloi and Su Qingzhao, relying on the fact that they were their grandparents, and wanted to beat them. How could the two let them do what they wanted? Kaloi was already an adult, and he left the city with his gifts, and no one knew where he went. Su Qingzhao's guardianship was transferred to Su Qingni's name, and he was also taken away by someone sent by Su Qingni. The old couple couldn't find someone to vent their anger on, so they wanted to take Kaloi back to their hometown. How could Kaloi be willing to leave? He sold the property under Ke Zifeng's name. Ke Zifeng was not left with nothing after the property of the Su family was recovered, as Su Qingzhao said. Ke Zifeng was very capable, and with the money provided by his 2 wives as funds, Ke Zifeng made a lot of money, leaving the old couple behind and leaving alone. Where he went, no one knew. Being able to teach a son like Ke Zifeng, the character of the 2 old people in the Ke family can be seen. Now that their son is in prison, their most beloved grandson has left with the money, and the grandchildren who don't like them either. The two have no money and no one to take care of them, and their later years are miserable. Su Qingzhao took back everything from the Su family, and Su Qingni helped him find a reliable manager to manage the company's industry. He changed his habit of not liking to study and devoted himself to studying. 3 years later, he entered Yang University as the provincial champion in the college entrance examination, copying Su Qingni's resume of going to college from high school. When the reporter interviewed Su Qingzhao replied, "I am learning from my uncle. My uncle is so outstanding, I can't lose his face." Reporter, "Excuse me, who is your uncle?" Su Qingzhao proudly replied, "My uncle is Su Qingni." The reporter knelt down. Sure enough, outstanding people are all from the same family. Ke Zifeng, who saw the interview in prison, regretted it. If he had known that Su Qingzhao's uncle was Su Qingni, he would not have started with the Su family's enterprises as soon as Su Guofu died, would not have turned against Su Qingzhao so early, and would not have taken his true love and illegitimate son back home. Unfortunately, there is no medicine for regret. When Su Qingni was 40 years old, the system left him. At this time, he was successful, married, had a virtuous wife and 2 smart children, a son and a daughter. He no longer needed the system. However, he was reluctant to let the system leave. "System, you are no longer a teenager, why should I stay with you? Su Qingni, you promised to stay with me forever. System, that was just fooling you. Su Qingni. System, and you already have someone to accompany you throughout your life. You also have a son and a daughter, and in the future you will have grandchildren. Oh, by the way, You also have a nephew who adores you. With so many family members accompanying you, you will no longer be alone. Su Qingni, system, thank you. System, you're welcome. Su Qingni, system, in fact, you are not the system, right? System, 886. Then, Su Qingni never heard the voice of the system again. Su Qingni entered the netherworld and did not see Lady Pingxin. Lady Pingxin was looking for fragments of the true spirit of the ancestor which in other worlds, in the worlds she had been to before, regardless of whether she had found the fragments of the ancestor which is true spirit or not, Lady Pingxin would go again to avoid missing anything. Su Qingni returned to the Lich world. The technology in this world was based on the mortal world, changing with each passing day and developing very fast, but there was no major event. The patriarch Qi went into seclusion because he had nothing to do. He accepted technology well, but he was not interested in the entertainment he learned from the mortal world. Those online novels were just blind why. It was more refreshing to fight in reality than to fight in the holographic game. Watching movies and TV was a waste of time. Su Qingni helped Qiyu deal with several small and medium-sized matters in the tribe, rested for a while, and traveled again. Chapter 138. I'm not a heavenly master. I saw a ghost again. But it was not the original owner's soul. The original owner had no attachment to this world, and death was a relief for her. Therefore, as soon as the original owner's body died, her soul entered the projection of the underworld in this world. The ghost that Su Qingni saw was lying on the back of a girl, her hands wrapped around the girl's neck, trying to strangle the girl. But ghosts cannot touch living people, and her attacks are useless to the girl. What's that look in your eyes? The girl said angrily to Su Qingni, if you look at me like this again, I'll dig out your eyes. After saying that, she kicked Su Qingni in dissatisfaction. Su Qingni had just taken over the body and had not yet transformed her body. She could not avoid the girl's kicks and could only lie on the ground and let the girl kick her. At this time, she still felt that there was no part of her body that was not painful, especially the forehead, which was extremely painful. Looking at the girl's haircut and the girls around her who were dressed in the same way, and then looking at the environment she was in, it should be the school toilet, Su Qingni understood. The original body was bullied to death in school. The girl who kicked her was not a good person. The original owner was killed by this girl, and the ghost behind her was also killed by her. She is so vicious at such a young age. I don't know which family raised her. Su Qingni has always believed that family education is very important. It is about teaching by words and deeds, and the children of the elders in the family will not be good people. Although there is a saying that good bamboo shoots come out of bad bamboo, there are definitely not many such cases. Su Qingni has been lying on the ground without resistance or movement. The girl felt that it was meaningless, so she retracted her feet and said to several followers, boring, go home. Several followers surrounded the girl and left. Su Qingni suddenly stretched out her hand and grabbed the ghost who was about to leave with the girl. The ghost turned around and glared at Su Qingni fiercely. Su Qingni calmly got up from the ground, but did not let go of the ghost. The ghost stretched out two ghost claws and scratched Su Qingni. Su Qingni waved her left hand and waved away its ghost claws. The ghost is conscious. At this time, it has realized that it has met a master. It quickly said, let me go. I won't hurt you, and I won't hurt others. I just want revenge. Is your enemy Chen Zuoyan? Su Qingni asked. From the original owner's memory, she knew the name of the girl who took the lead in bullying the original owner. The original owner did not know this female ghost, but only knew Chen Zuoyan. Because Chen Zuoyan and her followers transferred to the original owner's school, this female ghost should be a student of Chen Zuoyan's former school. The female ghost nodded, her face full of hatred. It was her, she killed me. The female ghost's experience is very simple, that is, school bullying, and she was bullied to death. Her name is Wei Honghong. She is a student with very good grades and looks pretty. She is quite popular with boys. The boy that Chen Zuoyan likes also likes Wei Honghong. When Chen Zuoyan confessed to him, the boy said that he likes good students like Wei Honghong who study well and look good, and does not like little gangsters like Chen Zuoyan. Chen Zuoyan did not reflect on how unlovable she was, nor did she hate boys, but hated the innocent Wei Honghong. After that, she began to bully Wei Honghong. Beating, scolding, kicking and kicking were all normal. Chen Zuoyan also found a few gangsters and let them bully Wei Honghong in front of her. 2 months later, Wei Honghong was pregnant. Chen Zuoyan still punched and kicked her every day, causing Wei Honghong to have a miscarriage and heavy bleeding, and finally died unwillingly. Chen Zuoyan's family was rich and powerful, helping her to clean up the mess. Wei Honghong's family favored boys over girls, and her family was not very well off. After receiving the compensation from Chen Zuoyan's family, they no longer pursued the matter of their daughter's death. The matter was covered up so easily. Chen Zuoyan and a few followers transferred to another school without any impact, and continued to bully others in the new school. Wei Honghong was unwilling to accept it, and turned into a ghost to seek revenge, but her strength was too weak and she had no ability to retaliate. "Don't you have the ability to retaliate?" Su Qingni said. "I can give you the ability. But after you have taken revenge on the culprit, you should report to the underworld. Don't stay in the mortal world anymore, and don't hurt anyone anymore." "Okay." Wei Honghong nodded in agreement. The girl in front of her was very powerful, and she was no match for her. Although she didn't know why such a powerful person would be bullied by Chen Zuoyan, her intuition told her that the person in front of her could really help her get revenge. The girl in front of her was not easy to mess with, and it was right to do what she said. Su Qingni stretched out her finger and tapped the middle of Wei Honghong's eyebrows. Wei Honghong felt a chill entering her body. Since she became a ghost, she couldn't feel anything. This was the first time she felt anything. "Okay," Su Qingni said. Wei Honghong felt it and found that she seemed to be much stronger. There were several more ways to use the ability in her mind, and her hands could touch real objects. "Thank you, Master, thank you." Wei Honghong knelt on the ground, kowtowed to Su Qingni 3 times, then stood up, passed through the wall, floated out, and went to find her enemy. Su Qingni coughed. This body not only had external injuries, but also internal injuries. She had used her magic power just now. Even if it was a very small amount, this body could not bear it. If it weren't for her spiritual consciousness forcibly restraining this body, the body would have disappeared immediately. Fortunately, this world's constraints on her were smaller than the previous world's, and she was able to smuggle more power and items. Su Qingni took out a storage bag, took out a pill for treating internal and external injuries, and stuffed it into her mouth. The pill turned into pure energy after entering the body, repairing the internal and external injuries, and even the injuries that Su Qingni had caused by using energy before. Su Qingni looked at the dirty clothes with footprints on her body, and disgust flashed in her eyes. But she didn't get rid of the dirt, knowing that she was taken to the toilet by Chen Zuoyan and bullied too many people. If she didn't bring any traces back, others would be suspicious, especially the sister of this body. This body has a twin sister named Su Qingni. The two look very similar and were born no more than half an hour apart, but their status in the family is worlds apart. Su Qingni is the lucky star, good daughter, and sweetheart of Su's father and mother, but this body is disliked and even hated by Su's father and mother. The original body didn't know why, as both were daughters, she and her sister were treated so differently. Su Qingni looked at the memories of the original body and found clues from them. It was all the fault of the twin sister. This sister always blamed the original body for the mistakes, and when there were some accidents at home, she would also blame the original body, causing Su's father and mother to regard the original body as a disaster. Chapter 139 I'm Not a Heavenly Master 2. All the bad things in the family are because of the original body, all the good things in the family are because of Su Qingni. For a long time, in the eyes of Su's father, Su's mother and a group of relatives, Su Qingni is the little lucky star of the Su family, and the original body is a disaster star. Parents and relatives all hate the original body, and the original body has a very unhappy life in the Su family. After going to school, the original body studied hard and was loved by teachers and classmates, which made the original body very happy. But it didn't take long before Su Qingni took away this love. Because Su Qingni's academic performance is super good, the teachers like Su Qingni more. Because Su Qingni said bad things about the original body to the classmates began to alienate the original body. The original body didn't realize Su Qingni's malice towards her, and only thought that she was really unpleasant, and her personality became more and more dull and gloomy, which made her even more unpleasant. This time, the original body will be targeted by Chen Zuoyan for bullying, and Su Qingni's hand is among them. This Su Qingni is not like a child. Su Qingni looked through the memories of the original owner and came to a conclusion. As for which situation Su Qingni is in, you need to see the original person to know. Su Qingni picked up the backpack that was thrown aside and walked out of the toilet slowly. The seniors had to attend evening self-study, So there were still many people in the school. Someone saw Su Qingni walking out of the classroom, but looked away after a glance. Su Qingni walked out of the school slowly and walked back to the Su family. The Su family was more than 20 minutes away from the school. The original owner relied on walking to and from school, unlike Su Qingru, who had a beautiful bicycle. This was the prize that Su Qingru's mother bought her after she won 100,000 yuan in a lottery ticket. The original owner did not have it. Even though the family made a fortune, Su's father and mother did not spend it indiscriminately, but saved the money to buy a house. Su Qingni had already wasted a lot of time in school and walked slowly on the road. When she returned home, it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. Su's father, mother and Su Qingru had already eaten dinner. Seeing Su Qingni come in, Su's mother said as usual, "The meal is in the pot." Then she ignored Su Qingni and turned to watch TV. Su's father didn't even say hello to Su Qingni. Su Qingni responded and walked into her bedroom with her head down. The Su family lived on the first floor of an old building, originally a one-bedroom and one living room. Su's father and mother used bricks and tiles to build a room in the original backyard as a bedroom for Su Qingru. They also built a kitchen in the front and turned the original kitchen into a bedroom, and Su Qingni lived in this narrow room. Su's mother glanced at Su Qingni's back and sighed. "This child is becoming more and more unpleasant." Su's father snorted and said, "Don't worry about her so much. We have fulfilled our responsibilities as parents. We can control what kind of life she lives. In another year, she will be an adult, and then our obligations will be completed. Don't worry about her anymore." Su's mother frowned. "That's what she said, but she is my flesh and blood after all." Su's father said, "You go and take care of her. Aren't you afraid that her bad luck will affect you again?" Hearing this, Su's mother was silent, and the care she had for her little daughter in her heart suddenly disappeared. Su Qingni in the room heard the conversation between the two and curled her lips. "There's still 1 year left. Just bear with it. But the current mode of getting along is pretty good. She is not the original owner, and she does not expect the love of her parents. It would be better if no one cares about her." Su Qingni took the clean clothes and went into the bathroom, took a quick shower, changed into clean clothes, threw the dirty school uniform into the fully automatic washing machine, added detergent, and let the washing machine work. She walked into the kitchen, took out the warm food from the pot, and sat on the small bench in the kitchen to eat. The food was very simple, a bowl of grain porridge, a meat bun and a small plate of smashed cucumber. The taste was not good, just ordinary. While eating, Su Qingru walked in. She looks very similar to the original body, but overall she looks nothing like it. Su Qingru is confident and proud, she is very good at dressing up, and she has a very good figure. She looks like a beauty. On the other hand, the original body is gloomy and inferior, and her temperament is far inferior to Su Qingru. She is very thin, with no breasts and no waist, like a dry bean sprout. The two girls walked out together, and no one would think they were twins. Seeing Su Qingni sitting on a small stool eating, curled up in a very humble posture, Su Qingru's mouth curled up. "Qingni, why did you come back just now?" Su Qingru said with concern. "Don't stay in school after you are relieved, go home early, otherwise mom will be angry and won't leave you food." Su Qingni just lowered her head to eat, and didn't even glance at Su Qingru. How could she not know that her sister was bullied by Chen Zuian? She was quite skilled at pretending to be innocent. Su Qingru saw that Su Qingni didn't say anything, and didn't care. Her original body was usually so quiet. Su Qingru poured herself a drink and left the kitchen in a good mood. Su Qingni only raised her head at this time and looked at Su Qingru's back. She saw the traces of time on Su Qingru. Reborn. This can explain Su Qingru's unchildlike behavior. Su Qingni reached out and grabbed the thread of Su Qingru's timeline. Following this line, Su Qingni projected her sight and saw Su Qingru's experience in her previous life. The previous life was different from this life. In the previous life, the original body was the favorite daughter of her parents. The original body in the previous life was smart and obedient and listened to her parents. She was a good student with good grades since she was a child. In elementary school, junior high school, and university, the original body was among the best, making her parents proud. After graduating from university, the original body found a good job with her ability, and then met a good man. The man was the boss of the original body's company. He was young and rich, and was a golden son-in-law in the eyes of many girls. The golden son-in-law became the husband of the original body and loved the original body all his life. The original body became a rich wife, with a husband who loved her and filial children, and her life was extremely happy. As for Su Qingni, she was compared to scum by the original body. Su Qingni was not a good child. She liked to make her own decisions, so she was not as likable as the original body, but her parents still loved her. But she did it herself. Su Qingni had good grades in elementary and middle school, but after entering high school, she only knew how to play love games with boys. Her grades dropped, and she failed to get into college, so she had to go out to work. Su Qingni was a person with high expectations but low skills. How could she find a job that paid well and was easy? So, she embarked on the path of relying on men. Su Qingni became a mistress for a man, and her life became comfortable, but people were greedy. She used the money of the sponsor, and disliked the sponsor for being old and ugly, so she set her sister's husband as her new target. Chapter 140 I am not the heavenly master I. Su Qingni seduced the husband of the original body, but unfortunately the husband did not take the bait, because he looked down on women like her. The husband of the original body told this matter, and the original body and Su Qingni turned against each other. Su's father and mother also scolded Su Qingni and severed the father-daughter and mother-daughter relationship with Su Qingni. You should know that the Su family's parents were very dissatisfied with Su Qingni being a mistress, thinking that she was self-degrading, and they were ashamed to have such a daughter. Now Su Qingni actually wanted to seduce her sister's husband, and the Su family's parents were even more angry and drove Su Qingni out of the house. Su Qingni never returned to the Su family since then. She had been a mistress for others, and the men changed one after another. Later, she was old and no man wanted her anymore. She was used to spending lavishly, did not have much savings, and her later years were very bleak. Unexpectedly, God gave Su Qingni a chance and let her be reborn to the time when she was just born. Su Qingni knew that she had been reborn and began to plan a life different from her previous life. She studied hard and did not fall in love at a young age like in her previous life. She vowed to get into a good university and find a rich, handsome and young husband. She bought lottery tickets based on the information from her previous life. Although she could not remember the numbers very clearly, she only remembered most of them, so she only made 100,000 yuan. Relying on the prophet's guidance, Su's father avoided the frame-up of his colleagues and was promoted. He guided Su's mother to buy a stock that was not favored by others but skyrocketed soon after. If she did these, Su Qingni, the reborn, could still get praise from others. But she should not frame her own sister. In the previous life, the original body did not owe Su Qingni, but Su Qingni owed the original body. But Su Qingni resented the original body because the original body lived better than her. After rebirth, Su Qingni designed to frame the original body, a child who knew nothing, so that Su's father and mother began to hate the original body. And the husband that Su Qingni decided on in this life was not someone else, but the husband of the original body in the previous life. She wanted to suppress the original body to be as timid as she is now, not excellent at all. Then the husband of the original body would definitely not be interested in the original body, but would choose such an excellent girl like her. The above is the experience and psychological journey of the reborn Su Qingni in 2 lives. Su Qingni flicked her finger and bounced the timeline back to Su Qingni. Su Qingni wanted to seduce the husband of the original body, so she would seduce him. Anyway, she would not have a relationship with a man in this world. But, can Su Qingni seduce him? There were only messy peach blossom phantoms on Su Qingni's body, but no real peach blossoms. Retracting her sight, Su Qingni continued to eat. After dinner, Su Qingni washed the dishes and returned to her room to do homework. The original body's grades were still good. Although the original body's grades fell a little because of Su Qingni's suppression, it was still good compared to most people. With the original body's current grades, the original body can be admitted to a second-tier university in the college entrance examination 1 year later. Su Qingni finished her homework slowly and looked at the time displayed on her mobile phone. It was already 10 o'clock. At this time, the fun hasn't started yet. So she climbed onto the bed, leaned against the headboard and used her mobile phone to browse Weibo. Su Qingni originally wanted to play mobile games, but her mobile phone was of poor quality, so she could only barely surf the internet and couldn't play games. Thinking of Su Qingni's latest Apple mobile phone, Su Qingni looked at the old-fashioned phone that Su's mother had discarded in her hand, and she decided to make money to buy a new phone in a few days. The time spent browsing Weibo passed quickly, and it was 12 o'clock. Su's father, Su's mother and Su Qingni had all fallen asleep, and everyone in the community had also fallen asleep. It was very quiet outside. Su Qingni opened the door lightly and walked out, quickly blending into the darkness. Su Qingni avoided all the surveillance cameras and came to a high-end community. After avoiding the security guards and entering the community, Su Qingni came to the side of a villa. Looking around, Su Qingni jumped onto the roof of a nearby villa. Her body was covered with a layer of mist, so that she would not be photographed by the surveillance camera and captured in the video. Sitting on the roof and looking down, she could see the scene in a window of the villa opposite. The room to which the window belongs is a bedroom. The owner of the bedroom has not gone to bed yet. It is past 12 o'clock, and the man is still playing with his mobile phone in high spirits. The bedroom suddenly became cold. The man sneezed because of the cold. He picked up the air conditioner remote control, raised the temperature of the air conditioner by a few degrees, and pulled a thin four-season quilt over himself. She did not see that as the temperature in the bedroom dropped, a figure appeared in her bedroom. The girl yawned and looked at the time on her mobile phone. It was already 12:30, which was quite late, so she threw the mobile phone on the bedside table, wrapped her body tightly with a four-season quilt, closed her eyes and began to sleep. The figure in the room walked towards the girl. As she walked, the temperature in the bedroom became lower, and the girl who was sleeping on the bed shivered from the cold, but did not wake up. The figure walked to the bedside, with a pale face facing the moonlight. Who else could it be but Wei Honghong, who wanted revenge? Wei Honghong's eyes had turned blood red, and blood was flowing from her lower body, which looked horrible. The hatred in her body had overflowed, and she could no longer control it, and rushed towards the person on the bed. Su Qingni's figure swayed, and the next moment, she appeared in an unfamiliar campus. Su Qingni walked in the empty campus. The campus was very quiet, and there was not even the sound of insects chirping, which was very scary. But these horrors could not scare Su Qingni. Su Qingni walked into the teaching building, went up to the third floor, and walked towards the end of the corridor. After walking a few steps, she finally heard a little sound. As she walked in, the sound became louder and louder. It could be clearly heard that the sound came from the toilet. It was a few girls bullying another girl on campus. Su Qingni walked to the door of the toilet, pushed it open and looked inside. This should be the scene in Wei Honghong's memory of being bullied by Chen Zuoyan and others, but in Su Qingni's eyes, the person being bullied was replaced by Chen Zuoyan, and the leader was replaced by Wei Honghong. Su Qingni clearly saw the disbelief and fear on Chen Zuoyan's face, and her consciousness was clear. Although Su Qingni's movements were big, neither Wei Honghong nor Chen Zuoyan saw her. She was like an audience member in a holographic scene, watching the real scenes unfold before her eyes one by one. In the play, Chen Zuoyan was bullied by Wei Honghong and her gang every day. She wanted to resist and escape, but she failed. Gradually, Chen Zuoyan became desperate. Wei Honghong made Chen Zuoyan experience her miserable experience in her life in the Gosklan she constructed, being bullied in school and humiliated by gangsters. In the end, the pregnant Chen Zuoyan was beaten to miscarriage and suffered heavy bleeding. She lay helplessly on the floor of the toilet until she died. Chapter 141. I am not the fourth heavenly master. When Wei Honghong came to see Su Qingni again, she had less resentment. Su Qingni sent her away so that she could reincarnate and start a new life. Su Qingni closed her eyes and practiced instead of sleeping. Although the spiritual energy in this world is small, it can support cultivation. The sky was wide, and the first ray of sunlight fell. Su Qingni quickly absorbed the trace of purple energy contained in the sunlight and slowly opened her eyes. After getting out of bed, Su Qingni walked out of the room, packed up her things, and left home directly to school. Downstairs, Su Qingni saw the elderly people exercising. After walking a few steps, the figure of a little fat man came into her sight. The little fat man was about 8 or 9 years old, but weighed at least 120 kilograms. Although he was wide and fat and quite likable, his body was really weak. This kind of puffiness is very harmful to the human body. Look, the little fat man couldn't run after running a few steps. He was panting heavily, his legs were shaking, and he could hardly walk steadily. The old people felt so distressed when they saw the little fat boy like this. They all asked him to slow down and not run if he couldn't run anymore. The little fat boy panted and said, "No, I want to run, I want to lose weight, I want to exercise." Some old people supported the little fat boy's behavior and nodded, "It's time to lose weight. Although it looks cute, Physical health is more important. Come on, little fat boy, Grandpa and Grandma support you. When the little fat boy heard these words, he smiled happily. He looked sincere and cute, which made the old people like him even more. Little fatty, go home for breakfast. A voice called the little fat boy from upstairs. The little fat boy responded and dragged his 2 shaking legs to go home for breakfast. Su Qingni looked back at the little fat boy's back and frowned slightly. Su Qingni knew this little fat boy. The original owner was very envious of this little fat boy. The little fat boy's biological mother passed away when he was 5 years old. A year later, his father married another woman and gave birth to a younger brother for the little fat boy. Everyone thought that the little fat boy would have a miserable life in the future. With a stepmother, there will be a stepfather. What's more, the stepmother gave birth to a son, and she would definitely dislike the little fat boy for her own son. However, what everyone didn't expect was that the little fat boy's stepmother was very good to the little fat boy and gave him whatever he asked for. Whatever the little fat boy wanted, the stepmother would buy it for him. If the little fat boy did something wrong, the stepmother would wipe his ass for him, never beat or scold the little fat boy, and raise the little fat boy to be wide and fat. Everyone thought that the stepmother was a good stepmother, but now Su Qingni thought that this stepmother was not just using the means of flattery to raise a useless stepson. And it's not just raising a useless stepson. That woman is so cruel. Isn't it the stepmother's handiwork that made the little fat boy's body become like this? He looks very cute when he's wide and fat, but in fact, his body has various problems due to his puffiness. If he continues like this, the little fat boy will probably die at a young age. However, things seem to have changed. The little fat boy who just left has traces of time on his body. And with the original fat boy's lazy and gluttonous character, he would never get up early to exercise. These show one thing: the fat boy is also reborn like Su Qingni. The rules of the world are too loose. One rebirth is not enough, and there is a second rebirth. However, this reborn fat boy looks much more pleasing to the eye than Su Qingni. If it is convenient, she doesn't mind helping this fat boy. Su Qingni came to school with her head down like the original owner. The original owner had no friends in school. Su Qingni was happy to be quiet. She went to school quietly for a day and then went home. Su Qingni saw Su Qingni go home on time, and she was confused and unhappy. Why did Su Qingni come back? Where is Chen Zuoyan? What is she doing? The next day at school, Su Qingni knew why. Chen Zuoyan died. Su Qingni was panicked and surprised. How could Chen Zuoyan die? In the previous life, Chen Zuoyan was alive and well, and later joined the entertainment industry and became a movie queen. Why is she dead now? Could it be the butterfly reaction after rebirth? But he has nothing to do with Chen Zuoyan. How could he butterfly to Chen Zuoyan? Even if there is a relationship, it is Su Qingni and Chen Zuoyan. Chen Zuoyan bullied Su Qingni. Could it be that Su Qingni couldn't stand the bullying and killed Chen Zuoyan? But it can't be possible. Not to mention that Su Qingni has no courage. Even if she has, how can she have the ability to sneak into Chen Zuoyan's house and kill people? Su Qingni couldn't figure it out, but because of this incident, she was a little scared, and she didn't dare to target Su Qingni too much as before. Su Qingni looked at Su Qingni shrinking and no longer targeting herself like before, and sneered in her heart, "This is a guy who bullies the weak and fears the strong." No longer paying attention to Su Qingni, Su Qingni focused her attention on the little fat man. She found that the little fat man was indeed reborn, and wanted to change his destiny after rebirth. He wants to lose weight and exercise. But he looks like a child now, and he can't escape the methods of his stepmother at all. On the surface, the stepmother seemed to be very good to the little fat boy. She would buy whatever the little fat boy wanted, but she would not give him money, so that the little fat boy could not buy breakfast and dinner for himself again. He could only continue to eat the food prepared by his stepmother. In the morning, the stepmother prepared for the little fat boy either fried rice with a lot of oil or fried food such as fried dough sticks and fried cakes. At noon, the stepmother prepared big fish and meat for the little fat boy, and prepared a portion of braised pork for the little fat boy almost every meal. At dinner, the stepmother would take the little fat boy to eat Grandpa Ken and Uncle Mick, which all children like to eat. It would be strange if the little fat boy didn't get fat after eating like this. The little fat boy wanted to lose weight, and in addition to exercising, food was the most critical link. But the stepmother didn't prepare other food for him, and even rarely prepared fruits for him. What should he do? Don't eat? He will starve to death. Find his father? Haha, as the old saying goes, if there is a stepfather, there will be a stepmother. The most important thing in his father's mind now is the brother his stepmother gave birth to him. He trusts his stepmother very much and thinks that his stepmother is a very good mother. She treats him, a burden, as well as her own son. No, she dotes on the little fat boy more than her own son. With such a mentality, can his father believe his words? He will only say that he doesn't know what's good for him, beat him up, and then tell his stepmother what he said. The stepmother knows that he is afraid of her, and she is afraid that she will use very cruel means to deal with him. What should he do? Worry. The little fat boy was extremely distressed, but he didn't know that someone had decided to help him secretly. The next day, the little fat boy woke up to the screams of his biological father and stepmother. Chapter 142 I am not the sixth heavenly master. The teenagers were frightened by Su Qingni's words and finally did not stay all night. On the other side, Su Qingni dragged the teenager out of the internet cafe, came to a small alley next to the internet cafe, and let go. The boy got furious as soon as he was free. He jumped up and shouted, "Who are you? How dare you pretend to be my cousin? I don't have any relatives like aunts or uncles." Su Qingni asked indifferently, "Aren't you dizzy?" The boy exclaimed, stared at Su Qingni warily and asked, "How do you know I'm dizzy? Did you do something to me?" Su Qingni rolled her eyes and said, "You're dizzy because you lost too much blood." The boy shouted, "The young master is not injured? How could he lose too much blood?" Su Qingni did not answer his question, and continued to ask, "Have you been particularly unlucky these 2 days? You choked when you drank water? You missed a step when you went down the stairs, and you almost got hit by a car when you went out. How did you know?" The boy jumped back suddenly, away from Su Qingni. "Have you been monitoring me? What bad idea are you planning?" Su Qingni stretched out her right index finger and pointed it at the boy's brow, then retracted it and said to the boy, "Look down." "What are you looking at?" The boy said, but he still lowered his head as Su Qingni said. He thought the girl in front of him was very strange, but she had a convincing aura, which made him intuitively listen to her words, which would be beneficial to him. The boy lowered his eyes and saw a scene that shocked him. There was an extremely ugly baby lying on his shoulder, biting his neck, and he seemed to see his blood being sucked into the baby's mouth. "Ghost!" The boy screamed in fear, stretched out his hand and slapped his shoulder hard, and suddenly slapped the baby off his shoulder and slapped it away. As the boy covered his neck, he felt the flesh on his neck was bitten off by the baby. The baby fell to the ground, screamed shrilly, and a ferocious expression appeared on his face. He suddenly jumped 2 meters high and pounced on the boy. "Don't come over." The boy waved his hands, trying to stop the baby from pounce on him, but it didn't work. The baby, who was several times more ferocious, was on guard, and was not like before when he was suddenly slapped away by the boy. Just as the baby was about to pounce on the boy's face, a hand suddenly reached out, grabbed the baby's neck, and lifted the baby up in the air. The baby struggled hard, but couldn't get rid of the hand. The baby turned back fiercely and glared at the owner of the hand. The owner of the hand, Su Qingni, was not afraid of the baby's eyes at all. She chuckled and said, "Good child, be good. I'll send you to the underworld later, and then you can reincarnate again." Hearing this, the baby's red eyes flashed, and it actually calmed down and stopped struggling. Su Qingni was a little surprised. This little baby actually had some consciousness. It was unusual. Seeing Su Qingni's interaction with the baby, the boy blinked in horror and came to Su Qingni's other side along the wall and said to Su Qingni, Are you from the Zuinmen?" Su Qingni raised her eyebrows. This child knew the existence of people in the Zuinmen, so it seemed that his identity was not simple. "I'm not." Su Qingni denied. The boy said with a look of "Don't lie to me, if you are not a ghost, how can you see the ghost baby?" "This is not a ghost baby, it is a little ghost." Su Qingni said. "Is there a difference?" the boy asked. Su Qingni replied, "A ghost baby is a baby that has become a ghost, but this little ghost is raised by someone. You know the Thai ghost raising technique, right?" The boy nodded, not realizing that the topic had been diverted from whether Su Qingni was a member of the Zuinmen. Su Qingni said, "This little ghost was raised using the Thai ghost raising technique, and was instructed by someone to harm you. Think about it, who have you offended?" The boy, "Every day I either go to school or go out to play with my brothers, how can I offend anyone?" Su Qingni, "What about your family? Does your family have any rivals or enemies?" The boy's face changed, and he immediately took out his mobile phone and dialed it with a speed dial. The call was not connected yet, and Su Qingni said again, "Ask if there is anyone else in your family who has a problem." The boy glanced at Su Qingni and nodded. At this time, the phone was connected, and a voice came from it, "Anan, what's wrong?" The boy immediately replied, "Mom, are you, Dad and my eldest brother okay?" "We are fine." The boy's mother asked in confusion, "Anan, did you get into trouble outside?" "I didn't." The boy breathed a sigh of relief, and then hurriedly asked, "Then what about your uncle, and cousins, are they okay?" The boy's mother replied, "How do you know that your cousin is in trouble?" "Ah. Is your cousin really in trouble? What happened to him?" The boy was shocked and asked hurriedly. The boy's mother replied, "Your cousin fell into a coma for no reason and was sent to the hospital. The doctor found that he had lost too much blood. If it was a step later, I'm afraid your cousin would have died. He is now receiving a blood transfusion in the intensive care unit." Losing too much blood? The boy thought of the scene of himself being sucked blood by the little ghost. Needless to say, his cousin was sucked blood by the little ghost and fell into the enemy's trap first. The young man suddenly turned around and asked Su Qingni, "Can you save my cousin?" Su Qingni said, "Your cousin is in the hospital now. The doctor has given him a blood transfusion, which can save his life. If your family finds someone from the Zuinman to help him get rid of the ghost spirit and bad luck on his body, he will gradually get better. With your family background, it should not be difficult to find someone from the Zuinman. Don't bother two people for one thing. Can't you help my cousin?" The young man asked. Su Qingni said, "I'm not from the Zuinman. I'm just an ordinary person who can see ghosts." The young man believed Su Qingni's words. The young man, "Can ordinary people tell the difference between ghost babies and little ghosts?" Su Qingni spread her hands, "I was just guessing just now." The young man, "If I believe you, there must be something wrong." However, Su Qingni did not admit that she was from the Zuinman, and the young man could do nothing about her. Su Qingni, "Besides, your cousin is not in City A, right?" The boy, "My cousin's family is in the capital." Su Qingni, "City A and the capital are not close. Instead of letting me take a plane to the capital, you might as well find someone nearby to help me. The headquarters of the relevant departments is in the capital." The boy, "You even know about the relevant departments, and you still say that you have nothing to do with Zuinman." Su Qingni, "If you say you have nothing, then you have nothing." The boy wiped his face and thought, "Forget it. If the other party doesn't admit it, why should he force him to admit it?" "Hey, Anan, what's wrong with you? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 I Am Not a Heavenly Master 5. Chen Zuoyan's case was reported to the relevant departments on the third day, and the police uncles must have seen it all. The person who came to handle Chen Zuoyan's case was a middle-aged Taoist priest. After examining Chen Zuoyan's body, the Taoist priest came to the conclusion. Chen Zuoyan died because of the revenge of the evil spirit. The middle-aged Taoist priest said to the police, "You should check what evil things Chen Zuoyan has done. It is best to give an explanation to the victim and let the evil spirit's grievances be appealed. In this way, the evil spirit may dissipate its resentment and enter the underworld. Otherwise." The rest of the words were not said, and the police uncles had already hurried to investigate Chen Zuoyan. Then, Wei Honghong's matter was investigated, and all those who bullied Wei Honghong were arrested and punished accordingly. After those followers and gangsters were arrested, the middle-aged Taoist priest waited in the city for a few days. After the evil spirit did not appear, he concluded that the evil spirit would not appear again. This is a principled ghost. The middle-aged Taoist priest had a good impression of the ghost. Only the main culprit will be killed, and the rest of the accomplices will be dealt with by human law. It seems that this ghost is quite rational. Even if she goes to the underworld, she will not suffer and will be able to reincarnate quickly. The middle-aged Taoist priest left by plane with the thanks of the police. Except for the police uncle and some upper-class families in the city, ordinary people did not know about his arrival. Of course, Su Qingni is not an ordinary person. Su Qingni felt that one day she would meet the middle-aged Taoist priest. After being discussed by the students for a while, Chen Zuoyan's matter passed. The students had heavy study tasks, and everyone's mind was pulled back to textbooks and test papers by the teachers. They soon forgot the existence of Chen Zuoyan, and even if they remembered, they did not discuss her again. Su Qingni will not be called to the toilet after school now, which makes Su Qingru unhappy, but for a while, she can't find another person to replace Chen Zuoyan to bully Su Qingni. In addition, Chen Zuoyan's death made her afraid, and she dared not target Su Qingni too much. Su Qingni's parents ignored her at home, and her classmates and teachers treated her as a transparent person at school. She lived a comfortable and happy life. The only bad thing was that she had no money. Su Qingni searched through the bedroom and found only 50 yuan in savings. These savings were all saved by the original owner for more than 10 years, which was far from Su Qingru's savings. Su Qingru's private savings amounted to several thousand yuan, all of which were deposited in the bank. The reason why it was so little was because the original owner was not likable. No one gave her red envelopes during the Chinese New Year, and Su's parents did not give her pocket money on weekdays. Poor child, she was able to save 50 yuan from the money she used to buy stationery. Su Qingni took the 50 yuan and thought about making money as soon as possible. After she was admitted to university, she would definitely leave the Su family. According to the conversation between Su's parents that day, after she turned 18, they would no longer care about her, which meant that she had to find a way to raise the tuition for college by herself, otherwise she would have to go to college and work. What good job can you find without a college degree? Even if Su Qingni has many skills, in modern times with a degree above her, companies will not want her. On weekends, Father Su and Mother Su took Su Qingru back to the countryside to visit Father Su's parents. Grandpa Su and Grandma Su were more superstitious than Father Su and Mother Su, and they disliked Su Qingni even more, so every time the Su family's parents went back to the countryside, they would not bring Su Qingni. Mother Su still had some pity for her little daughter, so she helped Su Qingni prepare dinner, and stuffed meat and vegetables in the refrigerator, enough for Su Qingni to eat for 2 days, before going out with her husband and eldest daughter. After dinner, Su Qingni went out with 50 yuan. She came to an internet cafe that she had chosen in advance, paid a deposit, and started surfing the internet. The Su family naturally had computers and the internet, but they were in Su Qingru's room. Su Qingru would lock her room when she went out to prevent others from using the computer. Su Qingni thought that there must be many secrets in her computer, such as recording some important events in her previous life, which had not happened in this world yet. Su Qingni could easily enter Su Qingru's room, but she disdained to do so, so she went to the internet cafe to surf the internet. Su Qingni wanted to learn from Su Qingyan in the previous world and make money by hacking, but after surfing the internet, she found that there were no websites specially set up for hackers to receive business in this world, so she couldn't receive business and make money. So, Su Qingni thought about making some small programs to make money, but found that computer-related companies in this world all had their own programmers, and they didn't buy programs from outside. Scratching her head, another idea of making money was rejected. Should she go to gamble on stones? Not to mention that there is no shop for gambling on stones in this city. Even if there is, she only has 50 yuan on hand. Oh, now she has spent some money on the internet. It is less than 50. She can't even buy a piece of scraps. Write a novel? It's too slow and too troublesome, and it's too troublesome to update it every day. Forget it. Before she traveled through the prehistoric world, she also wrote novels on the internet, but she didn't stick to it. It's easier to dig a hole than to fill it. This choice is better to PSS it. Just when Su Qingni was still thinking about how to make money, several teenagers walked into the internet cafe. Su Qingni's eyes suddenly stuck to one of the teenagers. This boy looked no different from his companions, all dressed in non-mainstream clothes, but the boy's clothes and pants should be branded goods, and the price was much more expensive than his companions' clothes and pants, but people who didn't know the goods couldn't tell. What attracted Su Qingni's attention was a baby with a big head and a small body lying behind the boy. The baby's eyes almost took up 1/3 of the whole face, and the eyeballs were red, which looked terrifying. Although he was a baby, he had a mouthful of sharp teeth in his mouth, which were biting on the boy's neck and sucking his blood. The boy's face was pale because of blood loss. However, the child didn't know that his life was threatened. He forced himself to talk and laugh with his companions, shouting that he wanted to play all night and eat chicken all night. While the boy's companion was talking, he punched the boy's shoulder with a fist. The boy's body swayed and he couldn't hold on. He was about to fall. Suddenly, A girl walked up to the boy and supported him. "Cousin, you actually ran out to play all night. Aren't you afraid that your aunt and uncle will beat you up?" The girl, Su Qingni, pressed the boy's mute point with one hand, and held the boy's arm with the other hand, and carried him out of the internet cafe. She turned around and said to the other boys, "You should go home quickly, otherwise your parents will come to the internet cafe to arrest you." These boys are younger than the original body. If the internet cafe owner dares to let them play all night, she will definitely be a good citizen and report this internet cafe. The boys looked at each other. Who is this person? Chapter 144. I am not the seventh heavenly master. The boy's mother's voice came from the phone. "Anan, who are you talking to?" The boy then remembered that he was still on the phone with his mother, and hurriedly said, "Mom, I'm talking to a mysterious." Touching Su Qingni's cold face, the boy swallowed the words that were on his lips and changed his sentence. "I'm talking to a friend I just met. My friend has yin and yang eyes and can see things that ordinary people can't see." At this point, the boy's tone became serious. "Mom, ask uncle to contact the people in the relevant department and ask them to send someone to the hospital to save my cousin." The boy's mother's tone was full of worry. "Anan, are you in danger? Do you know something?" The boy hurriedly comforted his mother. "Mom, don't worry, I'm lucky, the danger has been lifted. That, it should be the enemy of our family who used the Thai ghost raising technique to raise a little ghost to deal with me and my cousin. Let uncle quickly ask people from the relevant department to come, so that that person will not let a little ghost harm other people in our family. Are you really okay?" The boy's mother's heart trembled when she heard it, and asked the boy with a slightly trembling voice. The boy gave a guarantee. "Really, I'm really fine." The boy's mother was still worried and said, "Go home quickly. I won't feel at ease unless I see you in person." "Okay." The boy hung up the phone, looked at Su Qingni, and thanked her. "Thank you for what happened today. My name is Niangniang. What's your name?" Su Qingni said, "No need to tell me your name. This time we just happened to meet, and we may not see each other again in the future, so why do I need to know your name?" Niangniang said, "How could I disappear? I will definitely come to find you when I have settled my family affairs, and thank you very much." "No need." Su Qingni said, "Give me 10,000 yuan, and the matter will be settled. You don't have to thank me specially." "What?" Niangniang was shocked. Su Qingni raised her eyebrows. "Why? Your life is not worth 10,000 yuan. "Of course not." Niangniang shouted, "My life is valuable, priceless. But the reward you want is too little, master." The other people from Zuanmen took action, and each of them asked for a reward of millions, not only money but also antiques and precious medicinal materials. Compared to those people, the price the master in front of her asked was too low. Is she too young to know the market situation? "Don't call me master." "Okay, master." Su Qingni. Su Qingni stretched out her hand in front of Niangniang and spread her hands. "Give me money." Niangniang said, "Master, I don't have so much cash. I'll transfer the money to you. Can you tell me your Alipay number and WeChat account?" Su Qingni. She has WeChat, but WeChat payment cannot be used. She doesn't have Alipay because she doesn't have a bank account. The savings she has accumulated since she was a child are only 50 yuan. How can she open a bank account? Su Qingni, how much cash do you have? Niangniang took out all the money in his pocket, a total of 623 yuan. Su Qingni took 600 yuan and said to Niangniang, "This money is enough." After speaking, she turned and left. Niangniang watched her disappear from his back and said, "This is a true master. He is not greedy for money and has a noble character." Su Qingni, who does not covet money, regretted it at this moment. If she had known earlier, she would have opened a bank account first, otherwise 10,000 yuan would not have become a mere 600 yuan. Really? Has the mind been affected by being attached to immortal? I planned to make money through hacking technology and selling programs before, and I also need a bank account. The first thing I will do when I get up tomorrow is to go to the bank to open a bank account, and by the way, apply for an Alipay account, and then link WeChat payment to it. Thinking of this, Su Qingni turned around and went back to the Su family, and no longer went to the internet cafe to waste time. When she returned home, Su Qingni put the little ghost in her hand on the coffee table and sat on the sofa opposite the little ghost. The little ghost behaved very well, and he knew that he was no match for the person in front of him. Not bad. Su Qingni praised. This little ghost is very powerful in itself, as he was refined into a little ghost and was still able to maintain his sanity. If he had not been persecuted and was born and raised normally, he would definitely become a very outstanding person. Su Qingni extended her index finger and pointed it at the ghost's forehead. Golden light overflowed from her fingertips and enveloped the ghost. The ghost screamed in the golden light, and black air flew out of his body. The black air turned into black chains, which bound the ghost, making it unable to break free and controlling it to do evil. But now, these chains can no longer restrain the ghost. Under the golden light, the black chains quickly melted and soon disappeared. The ghost was freed from the chains, and the screams stopped. The baby in the golden light made a comfortable snoring sound. Su Qingni smiled slightly, retracted her finger, and said to the ghost, "Okay, without the restraints, you can go to the underworld to wait for reincarnation." The baby bowed to Su Qingni and disappeared. Thousands of miles away in the capital, two people in two places all spurted black blood and slumped on the ground. In the blink of an eye, they exhaled more and inhaled less. This is the backlash of Su Qingni's magic that broke the little ghost. The people who were backlashed were the one who refined the little ghost and the ghost-raising person who ordered the little ghost to harm people. As the saying goes, good is rewarded with good, and evil is rewarded with evil. These evil people harmed people and ghosts, and now they deserve the backlash. When their souls go down to the underworld, what awaits them is the 18 levels of hell. The next day, Su Qingni handled her bank account and wandered on the street. She found that the projection of the underworld in this world seemed to be in decline, and the control of ghosts decreased significantly, resulting in the rampant ghosts in the human world. If this situation continues, even if there are people in the Zuinman to clean up the ghosts, it will be a drop in the bucket and cannot improve the situation in the human world. In the end, the human world will be occupied by ghosts and become a ghost domain. There will be no living people in this world. Fortunately, Su Qingni came. When she buried the netherworld stone, she would lead the real netherworld to the underworld. With the control of the netherworld, ghosts can no longer stay in the human world, and this world will not go to doomsday. Su Qingni is looking for the extremely yin place. She felt that the extremely yin land was in this city. Following her feeling, Su Qingni came to an abandoned building. The extremely yin land was right below the building. Ghosts like yin, and the building was full of ghosts, tens of thousands of them. Even in the daytime, the whole building seemed to be in darkness. Alice. A helpless and bitter sigh came from the side. Su Qingni turned around and saw an old man in his 60s sighing at the building. "Why are you sighing?" Su Qingni. The old man was just an ordinary person and should not be able to see the ghosts in the building. Chapter 145 I am not the Heavenly Master. This is obviously a good place to make money, and it's located in the city center, but it can't be used. I can only watch it sit there and waste. It hurts my heart. The old man didn't expect that besides himself, there was someone else paying attention to this building, a strange girl. "Is this building yours?" Su Qingni asked. "Of course, if it wasn't mine, why would I feel heartbroken?" The old man said. "I'll help you clean up this building so that it can be used normally, and you pay me. How about that?" Since she was the owner of the building, it was easy to say. It was just right for her to kill two birds with one stone. "You." The old man looked Su Qingni up and down and said, "My friend, you are a rookie, right? The problem of the building is not something that a kid like you can solve, and even your teacher can't solve it. You should know that after I bought this piece of land, I asked a master of Zuinman to deal with it, and then I built a building. As a result, not long after the building was built, problems appeared again. I asked someone else. After a period of stability, problems occurred again. This went on, and finally even the masters of Zuinman couldn't do anything. You, a child, can help me solve it? Haha, you should go home and find your master." Su Qingni stared at the old man and said lightly, "I can help you solve the problem completely." The old man chuckled and didn't believe Su Qingni's words at all. Su Qingni didn't say anything more and walked directly to the building. No matter how much he said, it would be better to show the facts. "Hey, don't go." The old man quickly reached out to grab Su Qingni, but how could he catch her? Su Qingni seemed to be walking slowly, but in a few breaths, she crossed a distance of 200 or 300 meters and entered the building. This little girl. The old man sighed, feeling sorry for Su Qingni. The little girl was young and seemed to have some skills, but it was a pity that she was going to die in this building. "Alice, I don't know how the little girl's master educated is a apprentice. Didn't he know how to teach his apprentice to do what he could and not be arrogant? The old man walked back to his car and wanted to ask the driver to drive away, but just as he was about to speak, his heart moved and he swallowed the words at his lips. That little heartbeat seemed to ask him to stay. What to stay for? Wait for the little girl to come out? Can she still come out? Sir? The driver asked doubtfully. Is this going or not? The old man said, wait a minute. The old man leaned back in his chair, turned his head and looked in the direction of the building outside the window. It took a long time for his eyes to blink. Just like waiting, after more than an hour, the driver exclaimed. The old man had closed his eyes for a while because his eyes were dry because of staring for a long time. Hearing the driver's exclamation, the old man immediately opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the building. Is the girl coming out? The girl did not come out, but the building changed. The old man and the driver did not have the ability to see ghosts and the dark air that permeated the entire building, but they could feel that the building was gloomy and uncomfortable. Moreover, this building was obviously taller than other buildings around it, but it could not receive sunlight. It should be said that sunlight could not get close to the building at all. This made people feel strange and terrified. At this moment, the sunlight that was about to reach noon seemed to have broken through the invisible barrier and shone on the building. The glass windows of the building reflected the sunlight, making the entire building seem to be in golden light. The old man opened his mouth in shock. This was the first time he had seen such a scene. Even though he had asked Zuinman masters to clean up the building many times before, the building did not show such a scene. Even if the Zuinman masters cleaned up the dirt in the building, the sunlight still could not shine on the building. Those Zuinman masters had no way to deal with this. But now, the sunlight actually shone on the building. What does this mean? This means that the girl who just entered the building is a master who is more powerful than the Zuinman masters we hired before. She not only cleaned up the building, but also completely solved the problems of the building. It is true that, as the girl said, the building will not be abandoned in the future. The old man stared at the main entrance of the building with burning eyes, waiting. 10 minutes later, a figure appeared at the door of the building. The sun shone on it, coating it with a layer of golden light. The old man hurriedly got out of the car and ran towards the girl. Master. Su Qingni saw the old man running over at a speed not inferior to the young man, curled her lips and smiled. Very good, the person did not leave, she can collect the reward. Don't call me master. Su Qingni said, I'm just an ordinary person who can see ghosts. The old man laughed and said, Master, you are joking. The young master must be joking. Master, will there really be no more problems with this building? The old man asked, wanting to get a definite answer. Su Qingni nodded. She buried the netherworld stone in the extremely yin land, disconnecting the extremely yin land from the ground. Without the replenishment of the yin key from the extremely yin land, all the ghosts in the building were sent to the underworld by her. Now the building is very clean and will not attract ghosts in the future. And as the old man said, this place is a feng shui treasure land. The building built on it is a place to gather wealth. In the future, there will be a lot of money here. As long as the company is in this building, it will make money. The problem is completely solved. Su Qingni said, stretching out her hand with her palm facing up, reward. The old man hurriedly said, Master, don't worry, I will definitely pay you a generous reward. I have 2 antiques in my hand, which are comparable to the magic weapons of Zuinman. I will give them all to the master, and I will give the master another 10 million. I'm not a master. Su Qingni shook her head, magic weapons and antiques are useless to me, just give me money. What is your budget? Let's add budget and you can transfer the money to me. Huh? There is such a unique master who doesn't even want magic weapons. Then I will pay you 20 million. The old man asked. Su Qingni said, okay. The old man quickly transferred the money to Su Qingni. Su Qingni saw the message on her phone, her lips curled up, she looked up and said to the old man, the money and goods have been paid, goodbye. After that, she turned around and left. She still walked slowly, but her speed was very fast. Before the old man could say wait, Su Qingni had disappeared from his sight. Alice, masters are masters, they are not so easy to make friends with. The old man sighed regretfully, but then he was happy again. The treasure land that he had been eyeing for can finally be used, and the money will come in the future. After leaving the old man's sight, Su Qingni slowed down. She took out her mobile phone and saw the bank card balance displayed on the message. Looking at the many claims on it, Su Qingni smiled. Chapter 146 I am not shy and Shiju. Su Qingni smiled. In fact, it is easy to make money in this world. In the future, if she has no money, she can just go to a place with ghosts and someone will automatically offer her money. Now she has 20 million, a multimillionaire. In this world, Su Qingni is not in the world of two dandies. She has to spend money to enjoy. In this world, she is just an ordinary girl. She goes to school, buys a house and lives. This money is enough for her to spend for a lifetime. The original owner is not a spendthrift person. Su Qingni inherited her living habits and will not spend money lavishly. With this money, she can go to college and no longer need to be supported by the Su family parents. Without the urgent desire to make money, Su Qingni relaxed a lot. Seeing that it was noon and it was time for lunch, Su Qingni walked into an old stove hot pot restaurant. Su Qingni loves hot pot, and the original owner also loves hot pot, but the original owner has not eaten hot pot many times. From childhood to adulthood, the original owner only ate it once when relatives had birthday parties, and once when junior high school classmates gathered, and never ate it again. Su's parents would not take the original owner to eat hot pot, nor would they give the original owner pocket money. The original owner could not even come to eat by herself. Now that she has money, Su Qingni will not treat herself badly. She asked for a private room and ordered a table of her favorite dishes. The waiter kindly reminded Su Qingni that it would be a waste if she could not finish so many dishes. Su Qingni smiled and replied, "You can pack it up if you can't finish it." The waiter stopped talking. This girl is a foodie. As a foodie, I understand her feelings. Foodies don't eat for quantity, but for taste and variety. Although Su Qingni is possessed by an ordinary girl, she can still do something with this body, such as getting energy from food. After the food is eaten into the stomach, Su Qingni's mind moves, and the food turns into energy and merges into this body, improving this malnourished body with countless hidden injuries. The food turns into energy, and the stomach has space to accommodate more food. So, after ordering a large table of dishes, Su Qingni did not have any leftovers. When paying the bill, the waiter looked at Su Qingni as if he was looking at something strange, and his eyes mostly fell on Su Qingni's belly. When he finished paying the bill and went out, the waiter took out his mobile phone and recommended a web page to Su Qingni, the web page for Big Eater registration. Su Qingni smiled and thanked the waiter. Walking on the street, the sun was the strongest at this time of the day, and the yang energy was also the strongest. Logically, ghosts and monsters would not appear. Such a strong sun would make their souls unstable, or even dissipate. But Su Qingni just glanced and saw a bloody evil ghost lying on the back of a man in pain from being burned by yang energy, trying to kill the man. This evil ghost is much more powerful than Wei Honghong, otherwise he would not be able to gather a ghost body after being exposed to the sun for so long. However, the man he wanted to kill had a protective treasure on him, so no matter what he did, he could not hurt the man at all. Disappointment and hatred filled the evil ghost's brain, and the evil ghost gradually lost his mind. Su Qingni walked towards the man, and when she passed by the man, she grabbed the evil ghost from the man. She rolled the evil ghost into a ball and put it in her pocket. Without wandering around, Su Qingni returned home. Su Qingni's bedroom was very small, and the window was also very small. Because it was not facing the sun usually could not shine through the window at her bedroom. Without drawing the curtains, her bedroom was also very dark. She took the ball out of her pocket and threw it to the ground. The ball fell to the ground and turned into a human shape. The evil ghost raised his head, staring at Su Qingni with red eyes, and shouted angrily, "Who are you? Why are you stopping me from taking revenge?" Su Qingni said lightly, "Your enemy has a protective treasure on him, you can't touch him at all. When the time comes, not only will you not be able to take revenge, I'm afraid your soul will be torn apart." The evil ghost screamed, "I'm not afraid of being torn apart, I just want revenge." "Are you willing to be torn apart for revenge?" Su Qingni said, "It seems that you and that person have a deep hatred. Tell me, if it is really that person's evil, I can give you some power so that you can take revenge." The evil ghost only wanted revenge. When he heard that Su Qingni could help him, he didn't hesitate to tell Su Qingni about his experience. The evil ghost is called Li Yuanshu, from an ordinary family, and has a very beautiful girlfriend, Yu Chachu. The reason why Li Yuanshu, who is not particularly outstanding, has such a beautiful girlfriend that makes other men jealous is probably because he and Yu Chuchu are neighbors and grew up together since childhood. Yu Chuchu is very kind and likes to help others. Once, she met an injured man on the road, so she called 120 for the man, followed the ambulance to send the man to the hospital, and helped the man pay the medical expenses. She also took care of the man when he was unconscious, and helped the man contact his family after he woke up. The man fell in love with the kind and beautiful Yu Chuchu at first sight. After his injury healed, he found Yu Chuchu's information and often appeared beside Yu Chuchu to pursue her fiercely. Yu Chuchu had a boyfriend, Li Yuanshu, so she naturally would not accept the man. Although she had gradually been conquered by the man's sugar-coated attack. The man's way of pursuing Yu Chuchu was very wasteful. Not only Yu Chuchu, but also any girl would be moved. The man invited Yu Chuchu to enter and exit expensive places, allowing her to enjoy what ordinary people could not enjoy. Yu Chuchu's heart fell, but her principle of life was that she could not accept other men when she had a boyfriend. So she painfully told the man that I hate not meeting before I got married. The man understood that as long as Yu Chuchu didn't have a boyfriend, there would be no obstacles between the two of them, and Yu Chuchu would accept herself. So, the man approached Li Yuanshu, coerced and bribed Li Yuanshu to break up with Yu Chuchu. Li Yuanshu loved Yu Chuchu very much. How could he break up with her? He rejected the man very firmly. Li Yuanshu remembered the man's vicious face at that time. You will regret it. Later, Li Yuanshu did regret it. The man was rich and powerful, and he used means to make Li Yuanshu lose his job. At this time, Li Yuanshu did not regret it. The man had someone beat Li Yuanshu and beat him seriously, but Li Yuanshu did not regret it. The man understood how hard Li Yuanshu was in his bones, and it would not work to start with Li Yuanshu. So, he started with Li Yuanshu's relatives. The man asked someone to rape Li Yuanshu's sister and spread his sister's nude photos. Li Yuanshu's sister couldn't bear the blow and committed suicide. Li Yuanshu's father was in poor health. After hearing the bad news, he suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and could not be saved. Chapter 147 I am not a heavenly master. Li Yuanshu's mother also died. The death of two relatives was too much of a blow to him. Mother Li, who was in a trance, did not look at the traffic light and was hit by a car and died. Except for himself, all his family members died. Li Yuanshu finally regretted it. He found Yu Chuchu and broke up with her. Yu Chuchu didn't know what the man had done to the Li family, so she didn't feel guilty. She was relieved to hear that Li Yuanshu broke up with her. She finally didn't have to associate with Li Yuanshu with guilt and painfully reject the man. She no longer had love for Li Yuanshu. What she loved now was the man, actually the man's money, right? Finally, she could accept the man's pursuit legitimately. Thinking of this, Yu Chuchu showed a happy smile on her face. Li Yuanshu saw this smile and felt extremely ironic. For Yu Chuchu, he was forced by the man not to break up no matter what, so that he implicated his relatives, but he didn't expect that Yu Chuchu's heart was no longer on him, and had long been biased towards the man. What did he insist on doing before? Li Yuanshu regretted even more, and his love for Chuchu instantly turned into hatred. If it weren't for Yu Chuchu, the beauty who brought disaster, how could his family be destroyed? Li Yuanshu hated the man even more. The man was the culprit. He wanted to kill the man to avenge his family. However, how could he, an ordinary person with no power, kill the man? The man had bodyguards around him. Li Yuanshu tried every means to get close to the man, but was caught by the man's bodyguards as soon as he started. The man beat Li Yuanshu to death, poured cement into the body and threw it into the sea. Before his death, Li Yuanshu had a huge grudge, and after his death, he was even more resentful. He turned directly into a fierce ghost and went to seek revenge on the man. Unfortunately, the man had a protective treasure on him. Even if Li Yuanshu could get close to the man, he couldn't hurt the man. Instead, he would be hurt by his protective treasure. Now he is just relying on a breath of resentment to condense his ghost body. If he continues to follow the man, even if the resentment is still there, he will soon be shattered. It's really miserable, but I can't listen to your one-sided words. Su Qingni said. Everything I said is true. If I tell a lie, I will be scared to death immediately. Li Yuanshu swore. He saw that the girl in front of him was a master, and she might really be able to help him get revenge. Therefore, he would never hide anything from the girl in front of him. But I believe more in what I have investigated. Su Qingni said, and pointed her finger at Li Yuanshu, imprisoning him. You wait here. My bedroom has never seen sunlight all year round, and the yin energy is quite heavy. You can absorb more to stabilize your ghost body. Li Yuanshu asked hurriedly, where are you going? You won't investigate Shuangguang by yourself, will you? He has great power. If you alert the enemy, even if you can see ghosts, you alone are not a match for him and his gang of men, and it will be dangerous. Don't worry, I'm not that stupid. Su Qingni said. Shuangguang and his men couldn't hurt her at all, but there was a safe and simple way, so she wouldn't just take it head on. I'm just going to buy a laptop. Huh? Li Yuanshu was dumbfounded. What do you buy a laptop for? Su Qingni left Li Yuanshu and left the Su family. She took a taxi to the specialized electronics market in City A. Su Qingni was not in the mood to go shopping, so she went directly to a brand store and bought a new laptop on the recommendation of the waiter, and paid with a credit card. She is a rich person now. This laptop is not big, but the hardware inside is the best and runs very fast. However, Su Qingni used a light computer in the lich world, so she was just so-so about the laptop. When she returned to her bedroom, she saw Li Yuanshu forcing his eyes to absorb the yin qi. He was indeed too exhausted. He was so focused on revenge before that he had no intention of absorbing the yin qi. Now that he absorbed it, he felt the benefits of the yin qi to his soul and ghost body, so he couldn't stop absorbing it. Fortunately, there was indeed a lot of yin qi in this room, enough for Li Yuanshu to absorb. The reason why the original owner was so gloomy was also related to the yin qi in this room. She was affected by the yin qi. Plug in the power supply and turn on the laptop. It was easy to get online. Even though she didn't know the Su family's online password, Su Qingni, who had advanced hacker skills, easily unlocked the password and connected to the network. With the internet, Su Qingni became the overlord of the internet world. She easily retrieved Shuangguang's information and controlled Shuangguang's family's surveillance and network. Su Qingni copied all the information on Shuangguang's computer. Looking through the information, Su Qingni found that Shuangguang was not a good person. He could not take human life seriously, so he would naturally do other evil things. Shuangguang was involved in gangs, and his bodyguards were not only bodyguards, but also his subordinates. After reading the information, Su Qingni casually clicked on a folder. Hey, it really hurts my eyes. This Shuangguang and teacher Chen have a common hobby. The folder is full of short films performed by him and women. The latest short film is co-starred with Yu Chu. Before that, there were short films starring more than 20 heroines. Haha, I wonder if Yu Chu will become the heroine she used to be. Or, is she Shuangguang's true love, and will she put an end to Shuangguang's hunting career? If this is a novel, then Yu Chu should be Shuangguang's true love. But the problem is, this is life. Su Qingni chuckled, closed the folder, opened the webpage, downloaded a game, and started playing. After playing for an afternoon, Su Qingni cooked a bowl of noodles, and Li Yuanshu was still absorbing yin qi. Su Qingni continued to play games until the clock struck midnight, and Li Yuanshu opened his eyes with a bang. Compared with noon, Li Yuanshu's ghost body was much more condensed, and the black resentment lingered all over his body, and he looked scary. However, this scene only appeared for a moment, and Li Yuanshu took the resentment into his body, and his appearance returned to normal. Except that his face looked a little pale. He looked no different from a human in other places. Thank you, Master. Li Yuanshu stood up and saluted Su Qingni. Su Qingni hummed and said, I have investigated Shuangguang, and it is indeed the same as you said. Li Yuanshu's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he stared at Su Qingni with a burning gaze. He remembered that the Master said that if he was not lying, the Master would help him get revenge. Su Qingni stretched out her finger and touched Li Yuanshu's forehead. Li Yuanshu felt a strong force entering his body, and his strength increased rapidly. Okay. Su Qingni withdrew her hand. With your current strength, Shuangguang's protective treasure can't stop you. Chapter 148 I am not the Heavenly Master's eye. After Li Yuanshu had taken revenge, Su Qingni sent him away. Su Qingni walked on the quiet street. It was late, and there were no pedestrians on the road. The people who set up stalls at the night market had also closed their stalls. Apart from the street lights, there were only a few cars passing by occasionally. Su Qingni walked slowly. Although the Su family was a little far from the Shuang family and it would take a long time to walk, Su Qingni did not use magic to make herself walk faster. After all, in modern society, surveillance can be seen everywhere. What if she was photographed? Su Qingni did not want to be on the headlines. As for taking a bus home, forget it. The bus had already stopped working, and the taxi. Su Qingni had no money to pay for the fare now. After walking for more than half an hour, Su Qingni came to a square. This square is surrounded by high-rise buildings and is one of the most prosperous areas in the entire city. These are all commercial buildings, not residential areas. It should be very quiet at this time, but Su Qingni heard noisy sounds, and it seemed that there were many people in the square. Su Qingni walked over curiously, wanting to see what was happening over there. It turned out that they were filming a TV series. I don't know which crew exploited their employees so much that they filmed all night long. When Su Qingni ran over, they were filming a scene where the male and female protagonists had a misunderstanding and then resolved it. Su Qingni stood aside and watched for a while, and then she determined what kind of TV series this crew was filming. It was the kind of silly and bloody TV series where the overbearing president fell in love with Mala Su. During the period, there were all kinds of misunderstandings, and all kinds of male and female supporting roles came out to mess up the situation. The plot of such a TV series is all floating clouds, and the whole TV series relies on the actor's appearance to hold it together. As for the actor's appearance, don't count on it, just have a face that can be seen. The male and female protagonists of this drama are indeed high-looking, and Su Qingni thinks they are familiar, which shows that these two are high-traffic stars. The female protagonist has big eyes, a pointed face, and a high nose bridge. She looks very beautiful, but Su Qingni can see at a glance that this person has had plastic surgery on his face. The male protagonist is indeed a natural handsome man, without plastic surgery, and his face is very recognizable, which makes Su Qingni have a little good impression of him. Moreover, the male lead has a better work attitude than the female lead. At least the male lead can remember his lines, while the female lead can't remember the lines but can only recite 1,234,567. A water truck drove over, and the next scene seemed to be a scene in the rain. The male lead found a makeup artist to touch up his makeup and asked the makeup artist to put on water makeup for him. The female lead sat aside to rest, without any intention of preparing for the next scene. "Are you ready? The next scene is ready to shoot," the director shouted. The male lead came in front of the camera, but the female lead was still sitting well. Instead, another woman wearing the same clothes as the female lead came over. This is to use a stand-in. Too unprofessional. What is the identity of this woman? With this, can she go far in the entertainment industry? Su Qingni has been in the entertainment industry of several worlds, and she really can't like female stars like the female lead. She looked at the female lead's face carefully. Although this woman had surgery on her face, it was not a problem for Su Qingni. She could see everything she wanted to see. Sure enough, such a woman can't go far in the entertainment industry. However, in 2 years, this female star will be out of fashion, and whether she will live a good life in the future depends on her. If she makes the right choice, although she can't live the prosperous life now, she can still be content with a small fortune, but if she is stubborn, that will be the fate of being down and out for half her life. Su Qingni looked at the male lead again. This child can go a long way. It's just that his luck is not very good. If there is no noble support, after the traffic star is out of fashion, he can only maintain a second or third line position in the circle, and it is difficult to rush to the first line. Meeting his fate, do you want to help this boy who is pleasing to the eye? Su Qingni raised her right hand, pinched her chin, and decided to observe the male lead for a while longer. The female lead found a substitute to go on stage. The director was very angry, but there was nothing he could do. Who told the female lead to have someone behind him? He could only hold his breath and continue filming. Fortunately, the male lead is a dedicated person, and the director calmed down his anger a little. He thought the male lead was good, and thought that his friend was planning to shoot a movie, and he could recommend the male lead for an audition. At this moment, the director suddenly felt a little cold on his back, and he sneezed involuntarily. The director wrapped his coat around himself, and it seemed that the temperature had suddenly dropped by more than 10 degrees. Su Qingni narrowed her eyes. No wonder she found that the male lead had bad luck when she looked at his face. It turned out that it was not innate, but man-made. Seeing the black mass invading the filming site, Su Qingni snorted coldly. When did the foreign demons and monsters run to the flower-growing country? The male protagonist said to the female protagonist's stand-in with a loving face, "Mary, there is no one else, only you, and there is only you in my heart. Don't ignore me." If you ignore me, my heart hurts so much. The female protagonist stand-in recited the lines, "You still want to deceive me with sweet words. I saw you hugging another woman with my own eyes." The male protagonist, "No, it was that woman who took the initiative to jump into my arms. I didn't pay attention and was jumped by her." At this moment, the sprinkler arm of the sprinkler truck suddenly broke, and everyone heard a breaking sound, and watched the sprinkler arm fall towards the male protagonist's head. If it fell on the male protagonist would be seriously injured if not dead. Everyone screamed, as if they had seen the bloody and miserable state of the male protagonist. However, such a scene did not happen. The sprinkler arm suddenly shook in the air and fell to the ground while rubbing the male protagonist's body. The male protagonist was greatly frightened, but his body was not hurt at all. "Congratulations, congratulations." The staff quickly surrounded and helped the male protagonist to the side, and the female protagonist's stand-in was also helped to the side. Although the two were not injured, the crew immediately drove them to the hospital for examination. The director folded his hands and thanked God. Fortunately, the male protagonist was not in trouble, otherwise their TV series would be a mess. The investor will definitely settle accounts with him as a director. Su Qingni grabbed a black ball in her hand, with the corners of her mouth slightly hooked, hiding in the darkness, hiding her merits and fame. Without the villain's mischief, the male protagonist's luck began to improve, and his career will only get better and better in the future. It turns out that I am the male protagonist's benefactor. Turning away, Su Qingni hummed a little song. The black shadow in her hand was dealt with by her, and the person who instigated the black shadow to harm others will definitely be retaliated. No matter how much that person hates the male protagonist, he has no ability to hurt the male protagonist again. Chapter 149 I am not the 12 Heavenly Master. Returning to the residential area where she lived, Su Qingni keenly noticed that there was a person sitting at the entrance of the building. Su Qingni looked over intently and saw the little fat boy sitting there in a daze. The little fat boy felt that his biological father and stepmother were well behaved these days. Every morning, they woke up with screams and looked at him with strange eyes. His stepmother's attitude towards him also changed. She was no longer as fake as before. She showed all her disgust for him, but there was also some fear in it. His stepmother did not prepare breakfast and lunch for him. Instead, his father gave him money and let him solve his own meals. His father looked at him with even more strange eyes, with disgust, fear and a little guilt. I really don't know what happened to these two people. But this is a bargain for him. He no longer needs to eat oily food every day, and eats light food. In addition, he insists on exercising every morning, and he has lost 5 pounds. His body is a little more relaxed, and he can't run after running a few steps. The little fat boy doesn't know what happened to his biological father and stepmother, but this situation is good for him. It's best if they don't care about him. But the little fat man was worried. He was worried that the two would turn back to their previous appearance at some point. He was even more worried that the two would turn evil and attack him if they continued to behave so strangely. Therefore, the little fat man was so scared that he dared not sleep at night. Su Qingni walked over and asked the little fat man, "Why are you still outside so late?" The little fat man hesitated and could not answer the question. Su Qingni stared at the little fat man's eyes closely. Combining the situation of the little fat man's family these days, she had a guess. Su Qingni couldn't help laughing. She reached out and patted the little fat man's head and said, "Don't worry, it's okay. Your biological mother will protect you. No one can hurt you." The little fat man's eyes widened. What does that mean? His biological mother? Isn't his biological mother dead? Su Qingni smiled. The little fat man's biological mother is indeed dead, but sometimes you can use the name of the dead to deal with those who have ghosts in their hearts, making them think that the little fat man's mother is still there and is still protecting the little fat man. The reason why the little fat man's biological father and stepmother are woken up every morning is because Su Qingni has done something to them, and the two will dream when they fall asleep at night. The dream was that the little fat boy's biological mother went to settle accounts with him. The stepmother was abused badly by the biological mother in the dream, and the biological father was even worse. As the biological father, he allowed other women to harm his own son. This person is more hateful than the stepmother, so the biological mother will naturally abuse him severely. Therefore, the biological father and stepmother would wake up screaming every day. Therefore, the stepmother dared not use the previous methods on the little fat boy. But she really hated the little fat boy, So she simply chose to turn a blind eye and not be annoyed. The biological father could not ignore the little fat boy. If he ignored the little fat boy, he would be abused even more badly by the little fat boy's biological mother in his dreams at night. Su Qingni rubbed the little fat boy's head again and smiled. Go back to sleep, you are still a child now, you need more sleep to grow up. After that, Su Qingni went back to her home. The little fat boy rubbed his head and looked at Su Qingni's figure, his face full of confusion. Suddenly, he figured it out. Could it be that the abnormality of the biological father and stepmother was because of his dead biological mother? Even if my biological mother died, she would still be by my side to protect me. And the sister can see her biological mother? The little fat boy couldn't help but feel excited and moved. Sure enough, there is only one good mother in the world. A few days later, the stepmother found a weirdo and messed around at home for a long time. The little fat boy was still a little worried, afraid that his biological mother would be hurt by the weirdo. As a result, that night, the biological father and stepmother still had nightmares, and when they woke up, they screamed louder than before. The little fat boy was relieved that his biological mother was very powerful. After that, the biological father and stepmother brought people home several times, and each time, they woke up with even louder screams the next day. Then the two were completely scared, and they didn't dare to bring people home anymore, let alone do anything bad to the little fat boy. Every time I faced the little fat boy, I was trembling. The little fat boy couldn't stand these two people, so he took the initiative to propose to go to a boarding school to study. He would not go home if there was nothing to do in the future, as long as his biological father didn't deduct his tuition and food expenses. When the fat boy's biological father and stepmother heard what the fat boy said, they felt as if they had been pardoned. They found a boarding school as quickly as possible, completed the admission procedures, and sent the fat boy to the school. After that, the fat boy never returned to this family again. Even during the winter and summer vacations every year, the fat boy stayed in school. After the fat boy became successful, he never returned home, let alone saw his biological father and stepmother again. He just paid alimony to his biological father every month until his biological father died. The view is pulled back to the present. The next day, the people of the Shang family were almost scared out of their wits by a shrill scream. The bodyguards hurriedly ran over to the door of Shang Guang's bedroom. The bodyguards looked at each other, and one of the bodyguards who was most trusted by Shang Guang kicked open the bedroom door, and a group of people rushed in. The scene inside scared the bodyguards. Shang Guang died, and his death was very miserable. The bodyguards felt a chill from under their feet, sweeping over their bodies. The bodyguards felt a sense of fear for no reason. The woman on the bed was still screaming. The bodyguards stood aside. No one responded for a while. It was a servant of the Shang family who whispered, "Aren't you going to call the police?" The bodyguard who kicked the door immediately took out his phone to call the police and called 120. However, 120 came only to collect a body. According to the experience of the bodyguards, Shang Guang was already dead and could not be saved. The police came quickly. After checking and collecting evidence, Yu Chuchu was taken away. She was the biggest suspect. Yu Chuchu was imprisoned before she recovered from the shock of seeing Shang Guang's death. She was extremely depressed. Shang Guang's death was strange. The police did not find out who killed him, but they found out many evil things he had done. The affairs of the Li family were found out. Although the death of the Li family was caused by Yu Chuchu, it was Shang Guang who did it, and it had nothing to do with Yu Chuchu. She was acquitted and returned home. However, everyone in her neighborhood knew that the death of the Li family was caused by her. They talked about her and condemned her behind her back, saying that she was fickle, seduced her current boyfriend and killed her ex-boyfriend's family, and that she was a vicious woman. Whoever was with her would be unlucky. Yu Chuchu's parents couldn't stand such talk and condemnation, and they also blamed their daughter. Yu Chuchu's mental state was not good after the shock. After she was released from prison, she was pointed at by others, and her parents didn't understand. Her mental state finally collapsed completely and she went crazy. Yu's parents had no choice but to send their daughter to a mental hospital and move out of the neighborhood. Chapter 150 I Am Not Shy and She 13. Su Qingni walked out of the school carrying her school bag. She was always slow and leisurely. When she walked out of the school gate, most of the students at the school gate had already left, and Su Qingni had already left on her bicycle. Suddenly, a man blocked Su Qingni's way. Su Qingni looked up and saw a middle-aged uncle with a pretty good appearance. "Uncle, you are blocking my way." "Taoist Zhang, student Su Qingni, I have something to talk to you about." Su Qingni, "Uncle, I don't know you." Taoist Zhang, "I know you." Su Qingni, "Uncle, you are not a beggar, are you?" Taoist Zhang, "Student Su, have you ever seen a beggar as upright as me?" Su Qingni, "Whether I am a beggar or not has nothing to do with my appearance or temperament." Taoist Zhang wiped his face, lowered his voice, and introduced himself. "My name is Zhang Zhenggai, I was born in Maoshan, and now I am an employee of Guanmen." He took out his ID and showed it to Su Qingni. "I am responsible for both Chen Zuoyin's case and Shang Guang's case." Su Qingni acted innocently. "Chen Zuoyin's death has nothing to do with me. She died in her own home in the middle of the night while I was sleeping at home. Also, who is Shang Guang?" "Student Su, you don't have to pretend anymore." Taoist Zhang said helplessly, "We already know the Tuang building was cleaned up by you, and there is a 20 million yuan reward paid to you by Mr. Zhao in your bank card. Huayang building was cleaned up so cleanly. Even the problem of yin qi gathering in this place was completely solved. Huayang building is very famous in the Guan department. It is a difficult problem. Even the most powerful senior in the department cannot completely solve the yin qi problem of Huayang building. Now, Su Qingni has completely solved that problem and turned the famous ghost domain into a place with particularly good feng shui to attract wealth, which almost alarmed the entire department. And from this incident, everyone can see that Su Qingni is definitely a powerful person. Such people must be brought into the Guan department." Su Qingni raised her eyebrows. It was worthy of being a national department. They found her so quickly. Alice, the ordinary life she wanted to live was about to end. She was being targeted by the country. Unless she left this world immediately, she had to obey the country's orders. Su Qingni was prepared. If the country had not found her, she would follow the life trajectory of the original owner, go to college and leave home, find an easy job, and live a leisurely life. The country found her, so she should accept the call of the country. Su Qingni said to Taoist Zhang, "I am not a person from the Zuinmen, but my eyes can see some things that others can't see." Taoist Zhang chuckled. "Can you only see a little bit? Your fighting power is off the charts, okay? Let's talk in my car." The school gate is not a good place to talk. Taoist Zhang invited Su Qingni. Su Qingni was surprised. "You have your own car?" Taoist Zhang asked back, "Why can't I have my own car?" Su Qingni, "But you are a Taoist." Taoist Zhang, "Taoists also need to eat, drink, defecate, urinate, sleep, and wear clothes to travel. It is more convenient to have your own car." Su Qingni followed Taoist Zhang to his car. A BMW sedan with low-key colors and luxurious interior, priced at more than 3 million. Su Qingni, "The car is nice." Taoist Zhang smiled and said, "Fortunately, this is just one of my many vehicles." Su Qingni, "Is the treatment of the Guan department so good?" Taoist Zhang, "The treatment of the Nan department is indeed good. After all, it is a stable job. However, most of the money for people like us comes from making extra money." Su Qingni nodded to show that she understood. The two got into the car and closed the doors and windows. The car was a closed space and people outside could not hear their conversation. Taoist Zhang invited Su Qingni on behalf of the relevant departments. Su Qingni acted embarrassed and said that she was a student now and should focus on her studies. Taoist Zhang expressed his understanding and respect. Su Qingni said again that she likes the life of an ordinary person and doesn't like a life that is too constrained. Taoist Zhang said that as long as Su Qingni doesn't use her ability to do bad things, the relevant departments will not constrain her too much. After she joins the relevant department, the department will not force Su Qingni to do tasks. As long as Su Qingni has free time, she can complete the target of 10 tasks every year. Of course, if she encounters a very dangerous task that others in the department cannot complete and asks her for help, she hopes that Su Qingni will definitely accept it. This kind of task counts as 2 task targets, and there will be rich rewards after completion. With such good conditions, Su Qingni accepted it after thinking about it. "I don't want the Su family to know about my ability and that I joined the relevant department." Taoist Zhang said that he understood that Su Qingni's twin sister was too scheming. In order to snatch the love of her parents, she framed her sister since she was a child. The Su family's parents were stupid and biased, and were played around by Su Qingru. If they knew that Su Qingni could make a lot of money by being recruited by the country, Who knows if they would cling to Su Qingni like vampires. Don't worry. Your parents and sister are ordinary people and are not qualified to know the existence of the relevant departments. Taoist Zhang said. Then I'm relieved. Su Qingni stretched out her hand to Taoist Zhang. Senior, please take care of me in the future. I'll need you to take care of me in the future. Taoist Zhang held Su Qingni's hand. You are the boss. Su Qingni, I'm not a boss. I'm just an ordinary person with some ability. Taoist Zhang. 3 days later, Su Qingni got her certificate and officially became a member of the relevant department. Taoist Zhang took her to a 5-star hotel for a big meal and to get to know people. Most of the people at the table were members of the relevant departments. They flew to City A to see what this powerful boss who could solve the problem of Huang building was like, and to build a good relationship with the boss. The descendants of Liuotian curiously asked about Su Qingni's inheritance and asked her which school or family of magic she learned. Su Qingni said seriously, I didn't learn Taoism and metaphysics, I'm just an ordinary person with some ability. Everyone. Taoist Zhang quickly broke the strange atmosphere at the table and pulled someone to introduce him to Su Qingni. Xiao Su, this is Wang Yijin, the captain of the criminal police brigade of City A. He turned to Wang Yijin and said, Old Wang, Xiao Su is much more capable than me. You also have permanent department members in City A. If you encounter any bizarre incidents in the future, just find Xiao Su directly. Wang Yijin stretched out his hands to Su Qingni. Hello, Master Su, please take care of me in the future. Su Qingni emphasized again, don't call me master, I'm just an ordinary person with some ability. Everyone, haha, haha. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.